Thanks for tuning into the BoshNRoll channel. Liking the video and subscribing to the channel are free and easy for you, and they help me out a lot. If you want to go further with your support, Patreon and YouTube membership offer access to the BoshNRoll Discord community, early access to lists, written content, things like that. You can have me play your deck on the channel, and the highest tiers come with individual coaching sessions. If you use YouTube membership, you also get sweet badges and emotes integrated here into YouTube. You can support the channel while you shop at tcgplayer.com by using my affiliate link in the video description, and you can play any deck anytime by using a cardhoarder.com loan account on Magic Online. If you want to wear your support, check out the merch store. And of course, thanks for being here. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome to an exciting edition of the BoshNRoll channel. Today, world-class esports philanthropist Spunky is back with another $500 challenge. The matchup today is Grixis Control versus Bant Control. I've been saying on the channel a lot lately, and if you follow me on Twitter, I've been talking about it. Hidetsugu Consumes All turned Grixis from basically a fake deck of Magic's past back into a real deck. The thing that kept Grixis down was Uro, just the card Uro. Having discard as an essential pillar of your control deck just became unplayable when a card draw engine that functions better out of the graveyard became standard in Legacy, in all sorts of decks. But Hidetsugu Consumes All. This 3-mana enchantment, Chapter 1, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less, so kills Delvers, any number of Saga tokens, whatever the Saga tutored up. Exploration, I mean, there's 1-drops everywhere in Legacy. This is just like a Wrath for 3 mana. Pernicious Deed for X equals 1 at 3 mana. And then on your next main phase, it exiles all graveyards. Peace out Uro, peace out Life from the Loam, whatever, get it out. And then on Chapter 3, it flips into a 3/3 creature. Whenever it deals damage, you put a +1 counter on it. And if it has dealt 10 damage to a player in a turn, they lose the game. The last part's mostly flavor text, but the fact that we have a sweeper that's also main deck graveyard hate, that's also a threat your opponent has to answer on the other end, this card is bonkers and gives you a real game plan to fighting Uro that's not embarrassing on the surface. I would say that historically, blue-white based control decks lose to Grixis, and I'm talking about like either blue-white Miracles or Jeskai. Those sort of decks lose to Grixis because Grixis has Thoughtseize and Red Blast, which are two pieces that are insane against decks like that. Grixis tends to lose to Bant because Bant has Uro and Life from the Loam and all these sick ways to offset discard spells. And then Jeskai beats Bant because Jeskai has all these Hull Breachers and Narsets and Blood Moon and just Red Blast where Bant doesn't. And it's just a pretty cool, healthy rock, paper, scissors within the control meta. And I think that Hidetsugu Consumes All turns that from an absolute don't even show up, this is a joke matchup into a defensible one in the Bant versus Grixis heads up wedge of that rock, paper, scissors. Spunky, of course, as usual, put me on the difficult side of the matchup, which is part of the fun here. And I have world-class Bant expert Pokemoki being my opponent for the day. If you watch my channel, you've heard that name before. Pokemoki invented the Dark Bant deck that has been my go-to weapon of choice in Legacy for the past few months. Pokemoki was essential in figuring out that Life from the Loam is a card that Bant shells want no matter what color they are. You may remember Pokepile back in the Dreadhorde Arcanist days. It was a rug Dreadhorde Arcanist Uro deck, and Pokemoki was always fighting for Trophy Leader on the Legacy board on Magic Online. Very powerful wizard, also has a YouTube, also active on Twitter. I'll have all those links in the video below, or in the video description below the video. So check him out. Good stuff. And it will be my job today to dispatch one of the best Bant players there is with a matchup that is difficult to beat. I am on the dog side of the matchup, though I do think that Hidetsugu Consumes All takes it from LOL bad to just maybe like 55-45. These numbers are made up. It's just based on my impression playing it. I cannot overstate what a tool like this does for an archetype like this that was mostly dead in the water for the last 2 years since Uro was printed. As far as my actual list goes, this list is from Spunky himself. He's been working pretty hard on Grixis, trying to figure out the right way to build this deck. The only changes I made were I added a land. Spunky had 20 lands, and I feel like that's really low for a control deck these days, especially one that doesn't generate a whole lot of card advantage. Like 20 lands back in Blue-White Miracles when we were playing Accumulated Knowledge or Predict felt okay, but lately when we're just moving cards around with cantrips and then you have like Baleful Strix, I really felt myself getting stuck on lands a lot, so I added one. I also moved the fetch lands around a little bit. Spunky had 4 Prismatic Vista. I turned one into a Scalding Tarn because this version has Mystic Sanctuary in it. Just a little bit of a non-bow with Hidetsugu consumes all, but I think that if you have any spell in your graveyard, it'll be good. We'll keep an eye on that during these matches. The spells themselves, the removal suite, really up to you. Fatal Push, Lightning Bolt, Pyroblast, Sudden Edict, Baleful Strix. I guess Baleful Strix is not in this conversation. That's in the next one. These cards, how you want to spread them around is up to you and your expected metagame. I love Fatal Push for its ability to just pick off any medium to cheap creature. I love Lightning Bolt for its ability to hit planeswalkers. I'm not a big fan of main deck Pyroblast, but Spunky loves Pyroblast way more than I do, and this is his list. I think this is defensible in certain metagames. If you really need to like pick off Narset or Teferi, this is the sort of thing that you want, and it is fair to say that those are big problems for the deck. So main deck Pyroblast is a choice you can make. Sudden Edict is primarily for Merit Lage and Murktide Regent. You can use all your little pieces of removal to pick off the rest of the board and then Edict a Murktide Regent, because that card is hard to kill otherwise. That's another argument for main deck Pyroblast, so count that one as well. Baleful Strix, 4 of. This is kind of one of the reasons to be Grixis. This card is just an absolute unit, has been since it was printed. Draws a card immediately when it comes into play, and it'll either trade with the Delver or eat a Lightning Bolt so Delver can keep attacking. It can keep Murktide Regent back. Just love me a Baleful Strix. Expressive Iteration as a 1 of. This shows some significant restraint from Spunky. There's a lot of decks that play Expressive Iteration as a 4 of. It is the core engine of the Izzet Delver deck, for example. I know Anzi D's 4-color Bant with red plays, I think, 3 Expressive Iterations, like leans in pretty hard on it. This is just 1 as a value piece you can find, and then you can pick it up with Mystic Sanctuary, get like a little extra value out of it. But the cost of permanents in this deck, the permanents cost like 3, 2, 3, and 4, and a lot of the spells are reactive. So you can't always guarantee an Expressive Iteration that's going to hit cards that you actually want to play at the time you cast the card. So I'm really into 1 Expressive Iteration here. There is 1 Days Undoing to go with 1 Hull Breacher and 4 Narset. I think this is the way to build Grixis Control. Just having an eject button to functionally end a game is really important. Grixis Control back in ancient times like 2017, 2018, when Grixis was genuinely in the conversation for best deck in Legacy, the deck basically had to win with Jace or attacking with Baleful Strix. And it was really good at running your opponent out of cards and options to make that a reality. But there was no eject button. Your opponent could keep any clunky hand. Your opponent could keep 7 lands and know that the game would go long enough that they draw some spells. It was really, really bad as far as clock management, time management, and pressure. Putting 1 Days Undoing in the deck to complement these 5 cards that you might want to play anyway. Narset is just good on her own. Hullbreacher is pretty good on its own. And then having 1 Days Undoing where you can just like whomp, game's over. I love having this option available. I wouldn't want 2 or 3 Days Undoing. That's not really what we're doing here, but having 1 is really great. I've already sung my praises on Hidetsugu. Jace, 2 of these. I like that number. Jace is the card that is, at least in my mind, associated with Grixis Control. Like in my mind, you say Grixis Control, I'm picturing Thoughtseize and Jace. Those are specifically the two cards that bring this deck together for me. And 6 forces. The fact that Narset is a 3-for-1, Expressive Iteration can be a 2-for-1. You have an eject button that just ends the game, like a 7-for-1 or more, depending on how many cards in their hand, could be a 14-for-1. If you're getting treasures, if you want to count those as cards, it could be a 21-for-1. Like, there is extremely high upside to being alive. Like, you can be pretty aggressive with forces in a way that the old Grixis Control decks couldn't. Also, Force Negation just didn't exist when Grixis Control was good last. So being alive through the early turns and then being able to really slam something hurtful like Jace, Narset, or Days Undoing, that play pattern, really appealing to me. In the sideboard, there are some things you'd expect, like more Pyroblasts. There's 4 total in the 75, the 3 here plus the 1 in the main. Meltdown for the artifact matchups. Energy Flux also for the artifact matchups. A 7th Force of Negation, or 7th Force. I generally don't like the 7th Force in the sideboard. Like, we already have 6 of those in the main. I would rather, like, pick who my enemy is and target them specifically. Like, if I'm worried about the Epic Storm, I think I would prefer this to be a Mindbreak Trap. If I was worried about Oops All Spells, I would prefer this to be a Leyline of the Void or Surgical Extraction. Right? Like, I want to pick an enemy and make my sideboard cards really crunch that particular enemy, not just like, I need something for combo, like abstractly something for combo. So how about the 7th Force? This is more of the same. I want to use my sideboard to really crush, and don't really like Force. It's not going to come in this Bant matchup, though, so I don't need to change it to something else before the league. Some Surgicals, a 3rd Thoughtseize, love Thoughtseize and Control Mirrors. Dead of Winter is Spunky's Wrath of choice. This one is pretty sweet. It hasn't been seen in a long time, and it's also not going to come in this matchup, but it is a pretty stable way to kill medium-sized creatures. Like if green-white depths or elves or those sort of things are problems in your metagame. I'm not convinced it's better than Plague Engineer, but this is the slot that Spunky's using for that. Also not relevant for this matchup, but cool card. Tarok Dread Cantor. Let's get into the weird cards now. Tarok Dread Cantor. If you play Modern, you've probably seen this card in play. If you don't, you probably haven't. 2 mana, 2/1, protection from white. Whenever an opponent discards a card, put a +1 counter on Tarok. Kicker black. If it's kicked, opponent discards 2 cards at random. At 4 mana, you get to cast Hymn to Tarok, and this creature arrives immediately as a 4/3 protection from white, and Hymn to Tarok's your opponent on the way through. Anytime you Thoughtseize your opponent, Tarok gets bigger. This thing just grows over time. You can Kolaghan's Command your opponent, Tarok gets bigger. And protection from white is no joke. The fairy can't bounce it, can't plow it, can't prismatic ending it. There are not a lot of answers in the Bant or Jeskai decks that can kill this creature if it resolves. Really powerful tool. Sorin the Mirthless. I think it is important for control decks right now to have some big non-blue repeatable source of creatures in their sideboard, or a repeatable source of card advantage, but specifically creatures. I'm talking about like Paradox Zone or Gideon Ally of Zendikar, the Wandering Emperor, just something that doesn't get pyroblasted, and every turn it's in play becomes a bigger problem for your opponent. Sorin the Mirthless is in the Grixis Wedge. 4 mana, Planeswalker, arrives at 4 loyalty. Plus, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you do, lose life equal to its mana value. You can, it's like Dark Confidant with the option to decline, just in case you're going to die to it. So that's pretty cool. -2 is make a 2/3 vampire with lifelink and flying. That gains you life so you can draw cards. Pretty sick. And the ultimate, 13 something and you gain 13. I have played against this card once and it was unbeatable. So just coming in from a completely different angle, jumping off the top rope. I've seen Pokemoki's list for this challenge, and he has subscribed to a similar thought. He has a Tameo in the main, the War of the Spark Tameo. I don't remember specifically what the words after Tameo are on that one. I know there's a lot of Tameos at this point. He has the War of the Spark Tameo in the main, and he has Nissa who shakes the world in his sideboard. So Pokemoki's on that same level as me. Our sideboarded games are going to be like Planeswalker Slamfest, and I'm pretty excited about it. And the last card in the sideboard, Ruination. 4-mana sorcery, destroy all non-basic lands. The reason that Spunky adopted Ruination over something like Blood Moon or Back to Basics is Boseiju. Boseiju, who endures, just makes Blood Moon not as good as it used to be. Back to Basics is a straight up joke. But Ruination, just splat, your lands are gone. We're not having any other conversations about it. I don't have to sweat you drawing the Boseiju. Like, bang, they're gone. That is a way to go, and I'm into it. This deck tech ended up being extremely thorough, and I think that's good because we're about to spend probably 2 hours with this deck together. We've got Pokemoki in the Discord. We're about to have a conversation with him about how these matchups are going to go. Let's go check in with Pokemoki, and then we'll start playing these matches. Hey everybody, welcome to the pre-challenge chat. I am BoshNRoll. I'm here with Pokemoki. What's up, Pokemoki?
Hey Brian, how's it going? I'm doing pretty good. Excited to be a part of this. When you reached out, I said something to the effect of, I'd jam Blue Mirrors if it was free, and the fact that we are doing a challenge for it, makes it all that more awesome.
Right, and it is not free today. We got Spunky, who has been an awesome supporter of the BoshNRoll channel and other channels in the Magic space. He's willing to throw real money at good content, and he wanted to see Grixis versus Bant, so we're going to play 5 matches for $100 each. High stakes. I've done, I think, 3 of these before. This is the 4th one, and I'm excited about it. I love this. And what do you think of the matchup? Because I think it's actually close. This is going to be good.
Yeah, I think it's close. You in your content and like on your podcast have talked about the place in Grixis like in the metagame over the past few years, and it was in a rough spot for a while, mainly because of Uro. But kind of as we've seen with the Jeskai decks, throwing the Narset and Hullbreacher and like maybe like a couple copies of Days Undoing into your deck can be an effective way to fight through that. And so obviously that's present here. I think that makes the matchup very close.
Right. Plus, Hidetsugu consumes all. Just a defensible main deck piece of graveyard hate that's also a threat. Like, Grixis was playing 2 or 3 copies of Cling to Dust just for a snowball's chance against Uro, and it still wasn't good enough. And now that there's like this real card that has text in other matchups, and I'm really excited about that too.
Yeah, this one is interesting. I have tested the Grixis deck out a bit, and frankly, I was a little underwhelmed with Hidetsugu. But it's possible that like I was not playing it well or timing it well. I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic in the match. Because like when you want to time it, like do you want to, just nuke like a 6 or 7 card graveyard with no Uro in it, or do you want to kind of like force them to like spend their whole turn escaping Uro that maybe you can deal with and then get it, or things of this nature where it's the fact that it has sort of like suspend 1 for the graveyard aspect makes it so that it's not just always going to be good. You have to time it well.
Right. Yeah. Do you just spew off Tormod script? Like you're also Witherbloom command deck. You're also a Life from the Loam deck. You have endurance, and I bet at least one of these games over this 5-match set is going to come down to decking, and you're much better off in that world than I am. So just constantly keeping graveyards empty might just be the play pattern, or maybe it's like when you're on 5 mana, it's time to play the front half of Hidetsugu Consumes All. So like the turn where you would evoke Uro into 7 mana, escape it immediately, I'm 1 turn ahead of that. Like, I don't know. Like, we're just going to see how this shakes out. And if I have the luxury of timing it the way I like, or...
It's going to be very interesting. Yeah. I think that the decking thing you brought up is definitely going to be relevant. I think one of the advantages of Dark Bant over maybe different flavors is that you can refill your graveyard very quickly with, Witherbloom Command or Loam or things like that. However, that means you deck faster. And if you are exiling the yard with Hidetsugu, the endurance is preventing the decking is going to be much less effective. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out.
Right. And I've been on the Bant side for so long. I've been playing Bant basically since Dreadhorde Arcanist was banned in various flavors. And just the comfort of like my volcanic island gets wasted. It's like, oh, I'll loam that back up or endurance it back in eventually. But in Grixis, it's gone. There's 1 day's undoing in my list, but that's mostly a combo payoff, not really like a value engine. So the idea that once my card is cast, it is gone and it's not coming back. And the 60 cards I have in my deck are the 60 cards I get to play with. I don't get to play 80, 90 cards in a game, which sometimes happens in Bant. Like, I'm going to have to keep an eye on that during our matches too.
I will say, when I played Jeskai, the days undoing to recycle win cons into the deck has come up not a
Right.
non-zero amount of times, but yeah, I do agree. It's mostly 2 combo with your Narsets.
For sure. So real quick, let's get this out of the way before anyone complains about it, because there's always someone in the comments. We have open lists. We've looked at each other's decks, and we both have some choices that might not be stock, but we both signed off on each other's list that this is an appropriate, reasonable list for the Legacy metagame. We do both have some bad cards, some dead cards. We also have some straight bangers. Like, I have a Ruination in my sideboard. You have a Nissa Who Shakes the World. And these are just cards that we think are good in the list. Neither of us built for this playoff specifically.
Yeah, I think that the big... So it's funny you mentioned both of those sideboard cards, because I think those two specifically are kind of influenced by the addition of Boseiju into the format, where, Nissa has frequently been a card like Paradox Zone in previous lists. But I think between Boseiju existing and like the Planeswalkers being a big part of these mirrors, having the Nissa that gives your lands haste, is really important, and not being exposed to a thing that like a lot of decks are playing. And same with Ruination instead of Blood Moon. I remember you had it might have been with Grixis against like Cloudpost, and like you played the Blood Moon, but it just like didn't really matter because they just had green mana floating and they just killed it and then comboed you.
Heartbreaking.
So it's just like, yeah. So I think it's nice to see these small adaptations for sure.
Yep. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go play these matches?
Like I said, I think it's going to be tough. I actually think that Dark Bant is probably slightly unfavored, just because the games are going to go really long, and these haymakers like Ruination, or I know you have a Sorin in your list as well. My sense for these control mirrors is like most of the spells end up resolving, and so you kind of can look at it through that lens. And I think that Ruination is like something I'm gonna have to play around a lot, where either like hold a land or two in hand, or make sure I have access to loam, things of this nature. That being said, I think it's going to be grindy, really decision intense, and I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah, that's cool that you said you think you're slightly unfavored, because I thought I was slightly unfavored, and that probably means we're going to have a great match. Do you want to make a prediction? How are we going to split these?
I think if Dark Bant goes 2-3, that's kind of around what I expect. Essence of slightly unfavored access of it, so that's what I'm looking at.
I also expect a 3-2 from... I'm not sure which way it's going to split. That's well within the range of like a punt from one of us, or just variants will come up at some point where like we get into these board states where whoever cracks it open first, and like you draw the Nissa or I draw the Sorin or whatever, it's like, oh, there it goes. We're going to get in spots like that. So I expect a 3-2 one way or the other out of this. Before we sign off and go play this, if you're watching on the Pokemoki channel, I'm BoshNRoll. That's BoshNRoll on YouTube, also at BoshNRoll on Twitter. If they're watching on mine, where can we find you?
So you can find me on Twitter at Real Pokemoki, or my YouTube channel is /C/Pokemoki. So that's where I'll be.
Great.
And I will be recording my side of these matches as well to put up on the channel.
And I'll have all your links in my video description. And if you're watching on my channel, just scroll down and you can go watch the other side.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was gonna say, I imagine most of my viewers know you, but I will include your links as well.
Yep, my viewers know you too. Like, you get a lot of shout outs. I think you and Marcus Ewald get the most shout outs on my channel out of anyone. So this is going to be great. Thank you so much for doing this. And let's go get that money.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Let's do it.
I have won the die roll for the first match, and I'm going to keep this because this is... nobody's going to pressure each other, really. Just hitting my land drops is going to be really important against the Uro Loam deck. Like, I cannot expect to have more mana than him ever, basically. But he's not really going to clock me either. So I'm going to take my time and develop here. A Ponder to start it off. Force of Negation and Force of Will are probably both cards that I'm going to board out at some point. But if I find one of my 5 Narset effects, then I have Force of Will to protect. His list has 2 Wastelands in it, so I do want to give that some respect. And my list has Thoughtseize in it, so I want to give that some respect. I'm going to get a Island right now and cast Brainstorm. Strix and Consume, both good cards. I have no route to basic Mountain right now, so I'm going to have to lean in on non-basic lands at some point. But I can put back Sea and Swamp. And I don't think I'm going to shuffle. This will see what happens this turn, but I'm planning to just draw the basic Swamp, fetch for probably Volcanic Island. There's not a Badlands in the list, so it has to be Volcanic Island. You have to make some concessions when you're playing Mystic Sanctuary. I'm not sure if Mystic Sanctuary is good, like I mentioned in the deck tech. Like, that's an experiment. We got Brainstorm into Ponder. A lot of fixing going on over there. He has 2 Narset and a Mystical Dispute in his main deck. So thinking about like what I'm tapping out into here, the answer is Narset. No Badlands in this list. Have to get Volcanic Island. And I'm just going to consume. I'm going to play this like proactively managing the graveyard at all times, at least to start, and then we'll see like how this shakes out. This is like getting a 5-match set against a specific matchup like this is really exciting for me. I get to learn so much, and like when to consume is a big one. If he's been sculpting up a Witherbloom command or a Loam or something, I want to get ahead of that now. Because I know the Dark Bant play pattern is frequently like use your early cantrips to set up green mana and Loam, and then you have land drops forever. And I'd like to turn that off if I can. This also becomes Vessel of the All-Consuming eventually, and that will require an answer. Okay, the 3rd land, I bet he would have liked to cast the front half of Uro that turn, like just sort of managing play patterns here. Endurance is a card in his deck. There's no Hull Breacher. I can Ponder and then Strix. Another Force of Will. Do I want that? I'm not going to like Delver this game out, so I'm actually going to shuffle this. I want payoffs, not like random shit here. There's 4 Narsets and a Hull Breacher in the deck. Alright, Jace the Mind Sculptor is a good card also. That's the kind of thing I'm happy to put on the stack with double force backup. Look, there's that Uro. We bought a turn off of the Uro because he had to respect Consume. Has the Wasteland, that's pretty unfortunate for me. But that was always going to happen eventually. There are 6 basic lands in my deck, so I can play on basics if I need to. Yep, Wasteland, pinch me. So we're going to flip into Vessel of the All-Consuming here. And I get to attack with my Strix. And I think I'm good to just slam Jace right now. He does have Prismatic Ending in his list that I don't have. But currently tapped out of Mystical Dispute. If he wants to counter Jace, it's going to have to be on a 2-for-1 basis. I want Mountain and Island. I might be playing too careful around Wasteland here, but it's really important to me to cast my spells. Okay, Force pitching Force. I can Force of Will pitching Ponder and leave up Force of Negation to try to protect Jace going along. Or I can pitch Force of Negation and like bet on the real spells in my hand. Or I could pitch Days Undoing, which I think comes at a significant cost that I'm not really interested in. So I am going to force pitching Force. He's got his 2 Narsets. He has Prismatic Ending. So this is not just like a lock. Oh, sick. Okay. I'm going to put Lightning Bolt and Days Undoing. Oh, how do I stack this? I think I want Lightning Bolt in case he comes up with Narset this turn. So that means stacking Days Undoing and Lightning Bolt. Okay. Days Undoing, Lightning Bolt on top. If he draws Narset, I can attack it or bolt it. If he just Prismatic Endings my Jace, I get to crunch for 4 damage. I could also force some negation to protect that. I think that's worth doing. Yeah, that's why I stacked this blue card in my hand. Not every game is going to be like this, but since it's game 1 and I have all these cards in my deck, I should cast them. Okay, I'm going to put Days Undoing Lightning Bolt on top again. And I'm going to attack for 4. Get my Vessel consuming. Then I'm going to play Strix and hold up Hull Breacher. And the Lightning Bolt ends up in my hand here. And then Days Undoing is on top. So with the 4 cards in his hand, he has to beat my board that is a real clock right now, has to answer Jace, and has to respect Hull Breacher, Days Undoing. This is sort of falling into place here. Witherbloom command. Yep, that happens. Gets to pick up Wasteland from the graveyard. That also fuels Uro. I'm going to float blue here and deploy my Hull Breacher. It's time. Let's go. It resolved. I mean, this is a Swords of Plowshare deck, so yeah, you got it. It makes Days Undoing worse, but it makes Vessel better. Brainstorm again. Force of Will. Ponder, Brainstorm. I think the Uro is probably escaping next turn. I think that Lightning Bolt has outlived its usefulness. If I can put Lightning Bolt, or if I can put Days Undoing Lightning Bolt back into the deck, then attack with my stuff. The Vessel is growing. It's getting awfully large over there. And I think I want to ponder and give myself a chance to shuffle away these bad cards. Shuffle. All right, hit a land. That's not bad. We can hardcast Force next turn. If he escapes Uro, Jace can bounce it, and then I just crunch with my damage again. This Vessel really is just going to town. I'm not going to Force of Will Uro. Not when I can answer it cleanly on the board. There it is. Got a land off Uro and a land drop for turn. 3 cards left in hand. Baleful Strix would be kind of rough here. But Life from the Loam. That's rough too. Okay. Actually, that doesn't matter. I'm playing on basics, so we're good there. But the Loam will keep the Uro fat and happy. I'm gonna Brainstorm, see if I draw like Fatal Push before I waste. Ooh, that's nice. Another Consume, and if I put back C Vista, if I put back C and Vista, I can bounce Uro, play another Consume, and I have Force of Will backup. The Vessel of the All-Consuming is not legendary, by the way. It seems like it probably should be, but it's not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He can go hard to get Uro into play this turn. Like, we know he has lands in hand. Dredging Loam will get 5 cards into the graveyard, so he can put Uro into play this turn before Consume eats the graveyard. Decided not to do that, though. That's cool. Like, you can either just lean in and bet on Uro, or you can... Oh, I mean, you can still do this, I guess. Getting Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so the Uro will draw Swords to Plowshares, which takes the pressure off. Takes the pressure off the Consume. I'm not going to counter the front half of Uro. Can't Dredge Loam here because you just put Plow on top. Wasteland's in play. Because Uro is lining up to be Hidetsugu food. I'm not going to force that. There's like Narsets and shit in this deck that I'm much more worried about. Drawing Prismatic Vista. Consume eats the graveyards, including an Uro. Then I get to fetch. There should be 1 left. Okay. Then Strix. Cool. And a Brainstorm with Jace. Narset is a serious game. Here's that Mystic Sanctuary that just got the graveyard consumed, but Iteration plus Sanctuary is pretty fucked. I could go for Narset right now. Haven't seen the Mystical Dispute yet. Right, I'm gonna put back Sanctuary and Iteration, and then attack with my Strix and play another Consume. I'm just gonna consume all the time, forever. Continue consuming. A relentless consumption of graveyards. Endurance, okay. Endurance is in play now. Probably the plan here is to kill Baleful Strix, attack Jace. Oh. Well, I will simply block then. Didn't have the removal spell for that. Ooh, this looks tough. I'm not sure what's in his hand that he wouldn't have cast right now. Exile all graveyards. The Strixes are gone. I can Iteration into Mystic Sanctuary and immediately pick up Iteration. That's so messed up. There might be a hardcast Force in my very near future, though. That's the thing that would make sense to be in the hand right now. Yep, fair enough. The Mystic Sanctuary is still on top of my deck, though, so I can Brainstorm with Jace. Oh god, Pyroblast. It's getting dirtier. Put back Pyroblast and Narset. Then Mystic Sanctuary to rebuy Expressive Iteration. Okay, yeah, you don't need a stocked graveyard to make that count. Just one good spell. That was a really good Mystic Sanctuary. And I'm holding up Hardcast Force rather than cast Narset here. Right, one card left in his hand. I don't want to lose my Vessel or my Jace, so I'm using Force there. Brainstorm can mix it up right here. I'm trying to think of what the scariest thing that could be generated is, and okay, we got the first one. That was pretty steady, just tap out for thing, bang, bang, bang. That was nasty. Let's look at Pokemoki's list real quick. This is basically what he's playing. Not quite all on the screen, is it? Yeah, there's the sideboard. We've got Veil of Summer, Nissa, that I expect, Carpet, Hydroblast, Mystical Dispute. Okay. Sorin, Pyroblast, Ruination, Red Blast, Thoughtseize, Turok. A lot of good cards here. Do I want Surgical on top of all of my consumes? And probably, like, getting Uro out of the game is pretty important. I don't need Fatal Push. I don't really think I want Sudden Edict. Pyroblast can kill Uro, which is mostly, like, if he has even a single Baleful Strix around, Sudden Edict sucks. Also, Tameo, the passive on Tameo is your opponents can't make you sacrifice things, so extra bad there. Force of Will versus Force of Negation is interesting. I'm going to cut some number of... I don't want all 6 forces. I do want some. Like, Force of Negation is actually hardcastable pretty easily. Like going after Nissa or whatever. Do I need all my consumes? Do I need all my Strixes? Okay, Pyroblast actually just straight up replaces Lightning Bolt. Because anything I'd be bolting... I guess Nissa is not blue, but every other Planeswalker in the deck is. Maybe a Strix is the last cut. You might be able to cut some number of consumes, but I have not done that. We'll see if that evolves over time, but that card just felt really important. Okay, let's do it like this. Okay, I am on the draw. I'm going to keep this hand that has Land Brainstorm, Red Blast, Consume, build turn 1 Mystic Sanctuary. You hate to see it. I do love to see that, though. This hand is gnarly. Ponder, okay. Pluto Delta. Where are we going with this? Another Ponder. Okie dokie. I think if I can get up to 5 mana and cast Sorin with Red Blast back up, that there's not going to be much game left to play after that. So I do have to watch out for Nissa, which I'm going to respect with the Force of Negation. He can currently hardcast Mystical Dispute, which is like kind of a beating. So I'm going to spend a turn brainstorming before I really don't want to expose to Wasteland, but I also don't want to play a game where I can't cast my spells because I fast strong. Like, I really want to get Basic Mountain with this and then have another island somewhere. And I'm going to need another swamp somewhere too. Okay, land go over there. I'm going to brainstorm in the end step. No fight over that. Okay, cool. I found my path to another mana source. I don't think I want 2 Force of Negations, and do I need Strix? Probably not. Force and Strix can take a break. I am going to shuffle both away. Oh, this is awkward, because there's only one mountain, and casting Consume with Counterspell backup forces me to expose to Wasteland. Yeah, so maybe I'll just get Volcanic Island here and lean into Wasteland because it is what it is. Here's Consume. That just resolved. Cool. Leave these red blasts up. I can win a fight over Nissa with Force of Negation and red blast back up here. I get Flusterstormed right now or Veil of Summered. Red blast, the Nissa, Hydroblast, and then I do think Nissa is a pretty big problem. So this could all be bait for, or Narset is a problem. This could all be bait for Nissa, or this could just be like a Veil of Summer blowout right now. Maybe I shouldn't have forced that because I can red blast the thing in play also. Okay. Did have Mystical Dispute. We were right to play around it. Narset's going to resolve here. None of the things in my hand draw cards, though, so we've got a chance. Witherbloom Command the Find. Huge draw for Black Source. Another Consume. I can just continue the relentless consumption, I guess. Red Blast Narset before it draws another card. And cast another Consume. Killing Narset gets rid of my protection for Sorin, but I'm just on the relentless consumption plan now. All right, we flip, consume, we exile all graveyards. I can Strix or I can consume again. I think I want to Strix. Strix finds a black source, I could even still consume again. Oh, we're on Force of Will, Baleful Strix territory. That's good news. But you got a Strix, that's a good one. Still Witherbloom Command over there in that hand. Another Vessel. My removal spells are basically non-existent at this point, so I'm just going to push in. Oh, this thing also has Trample. Hell yeah. Get some damage in. I'm going to test counter spells with another Consume. That is 3 Consumes down and no Uro sighted yet, so like my graveyard 8 is diminishing. There's still a Surgical and another Consume in the deck, but if I just like spend my resources doing this early, that's something to consider if this game ends up going along. Yeah, Prismatic Ending for 3 is the right number. And I don't have 3 islands or a spell in my graveyard, so I'm just 0 for 2 on that one. Exile all graveyards. And if the hand is Force of Will, then Sorin is terrible. Like I could wait for protection, or I could just jam. I know there's Witherbloom Command. I don't know anything else. I think I'm just going to pass. There's 2 more Red Blasts in my deck that I think if I can protect this Sorin, it'll go coast to coast. Brainstorm's real good. Witherbloom Command for Drain mode and Mill mode. Didn't get to pick up a land. No fetch lands. How many are in exile right now? 2? Yeah, so Consume has already been good for a card, though Uro did just hit the bin. That's a good card to draw. And I can play around Mystical Dispute. See if the Force of Will is there. Brainstorm in response. This could be a now or never brainstorm, or it could be looking for the answer. It'll be really interesting how many forces he actually left in, because we are playing kind of Haymaker Magic, but 2-for-1s are bad in Control Mirrors, but Planeswalkers are worse. I had low expectations of that resolving. Force pitching Uro. Okay. There was a force. I was right not to jam Sorin last turn. But now I'm facing down Uro, which is where we don't want to be. Oh, there's only 1 green land in play. This is wow, okay. The 4-color mana base is betraying him. He's got his basic island and his Mystic Sanctuary. Everything else in the deck is a dual land. Oh wow. Oh, but I don't have 3 black sources. I can wait until I draw a land, or I could Thoughtseize now. I think I'm going to wait until I draw a land. Because if I Thoughtseize now, and then don't get anywhere with it. Alright, you found the green source. So here comes Uro. This is the backside of fetching basic lands. You don't always get to cast all your spells. Unless this Uro drops another land. Also tapped out of green. Bummer. Okay, Veil of Summer's back on. Veil of Summering a Thoughtseize is about the nastiest thing you can do to a Grixis player. Moment of truth. Am I getting veiled? Force of Negation, Force of Will, Flusterstorm, sweet Jesus. Okay. I guess I have to take Force of Negation and then Force of Will will pitch Flusterstorm on Sorin, and then I'm gonna get smooshed by Uro. Or I could take Narset and hope to, because I'm not really beating Narset either. Narset plus Uro. Yeah, this one's slipping away. This unchecked Uro. That's the thing. Maybe I was too aggressive on my consumes. Also, if you remember his Witherbloom command, put that Uro in the graveyard from the top of the deck. Like, this one never was in play until it was escaped, just straight in there. That's good deck building. Yeah, I can't stop what's going on right now. I guess the best I can hope for is to empty the hand. Oh, God. Having 3 mana up is such a beating. Like, I can take Narset and pretend this game's going to keep going. I can take Force of Negation. All right, I'm going to take Force of Negation. I'm going to at least try to get the hand as empty as I can get it. I guess I could have Mystic Sanctuaried over multiple turns, but that's not a real plan. I'm going to at least get the 2-for-1 right now. Expecting Force pitching Flusterstorm right now. Sucks that the last card is Narset, just such a banger. Yep, Force pitching Fluster. Okay. And it's Uro Narset versus my 4/4 creature. But I mean, the 4/4 creature does pressure Narset in a way that is extremely relevant. There's Narset. Don't show me a removal spell. Shit. Okay. All right. That'll do. I'll take probably like 1 or 2 more draw steps. I guess that's all I get because I'm at 7. Yeah, that prismatic ending. So I can't crack back at the Narset. And then consume. Yeah, that's not enough. I guess I could consume, go to 1 from the attack. All right. I'm going to cast consume. I go to 1 from this attack. And then I could draw like Red Blast. But the way that that works is like Uro can re-escape before then. Not good. Oh, and Caracas will keep Uro out of harm's way anyway. Narset found Ponder, casting Ponder. Carpet Flowers, the old post-second right, or post-consume carpet. Love it. And all right, we're dead. Yep, Uro. Real problem. This deck's really good at refilling its graveyard, and even though I cast 3 consumes and exiled the graveyard 3 times, Uro still just arrived. Yeah, I don't think Sudden Edict is the answer. I have all the Pyroblasts. Is Pyroblast? I guess I also have Jace. A Pyroblast, Jace. Looking at the ways I have to remove an Uro. I have 3 Strixes still. Okay. I don't think I have any information that will signify. I could just bring in the extra surgical and make sure Uro doesn't happen. Like 4 consume and 2 surgical. Get Uro out. Full stop. Exclamation point. What would I cut for another surgical though? That seems like really heavy. I think that might be too heavy. All right. I'm going back in with the same 60. On the play, I have a handful of good cards. I'm going to keep land pass. I hate having to respect Wasteland out of a control deck. That's so annoying. Is this what I've been doing to people? Let's hope I draw a land. And not a land. Okay, I can play Strix or I can play Brainstorm. If I play Strix, I have to fetch basic Swamp, and then if he does have Wasteland, then I'm never casting this Brainstorm. Yeah, I think I should do this now. I did find a land. Ooh, Turok. That's exciting. Can work towards that. Jace is a ways away. And Turok's kind of far away too. Yeah, I think Turok is like a much later thing. So I could just cast it just next turn, just 2/1 creature. Protection from white. Good luck, have fun. You need 3 black to kick Turok, so I'm like infinity away from that. All right, I'm going to put back Jace and Turok. And I probably will shuffle them away. Ponder. This is not a matchup where you just aggressively Red Blast Ponders. There might be a late game situation where that happens, but it doesn't happen this early in the game. Not what we're doing here. I'm going to fetch basic Swamp so I can cast my Strix. Cool. Drawing that island means that I can fetch basic Mountain without feeling bad about it. The next turn I can Hull Breacher with Red Blast back up. Ooh, are we disputing this? Okay. That tells me this hand has a lot of counter magic in it. Like, you're not going to flush a Red Blast out of me on Baleful Strix. Maybe I consume this turn and not Hull Breach. Graveyard's getting a little sticky. And Mystical Dispute hits Hull Breacher, but doesn't hit Consume. This lets me dance around a little bit. I've been on the Bant side of this matchup enough to know that this one open mana is always Pyroblast. Just never not. Got a Tundra now. There is the interesting option of Prismatic Ending the front of Hidetsugu Consumes All right now, so it never gets the Tormod script. That's cool. Hope it doesn't happen, but it's cool. Could Narset or Teferi with Veil of Summer protection here. That would be unfortunate. But I do have the Force. I can let this resolve and then Red Blast it, which plays around Veil. Or I could just let it resolve, or I could just blast it. Like, Flusterstorm gets me either way. And at least Veil won't draw a card this way. Red Blast here. Hydroblast. Okay. I'm going to Force of Negation pitching Brainstorm because Brainstorm doesn't work with Narset in play anyway. Kind of free. And let's just hope Hull Breacher can line up well. Oh, that's better. Much better. I'm going to tap my mana to play to Red Blast rather than play to Thoughtseize, but there are 3 of each in the deck. Another Consume, a Ponder, or another Narset. I think I want Ponder. Though Consume does keep the pressure on. Ponder, he's going to see whatever card this is. So I'm going to take the Ponder, because if I take Consume and then don't cast it and just leave my mana up, this is the world's most obvious Hull Breacher. Though Hull Breacher is not really something that he has to worry about until he clears the Narset. Okay, Prismatic Ending on Narset, fair enough. And Ponder right away. That's good. Like, I got a 2-for-1. It also cleared the Narset, indicating an intention to draw cards, which, I mean, isn't a surprise in the control deck. Oh, that's good. I'm still going to Ponder. Oh, God. Red Blast. I'm going to put Strix in hand, and I'm going to play Strix, drawing the Red Blast. Okay, and then next turn, I can Hull Breacher with Red Blast back up. Ooh, no spells, go. Endurance is something I should consider here. Yeah, I'm not just going to slam into an Endurance with my Vessel. I also don't want to force an Endurance. Wow, Force of Vigor. Okay. Yeah. This is an enchantment creature. That does work. That was nasty. Well played. Yeah, I knew that Force of Vigor was in his list, and I also knew that Strix is an artifact, but it was not at the front of my brain that Consume is an enchantment. Well, I know Consume's an enchantment, but the backside is an enchantment creature. Really heads up for him to notice that. And now we're just sort of chilling. Okay, he doesn't have a Hull Breacher, so I can do this. Oh wow, we're hardcasting Force of Wills on Ponder at this point. That's exciting. Teferi, huh? I can Red Blast Teferi. I could also let Teferi resolve and then Red Blast Teferi. I could cast Hull Breacher in response. A lot of things I could do here. I could Force of Will. I'm a little worried about Veil of Summer. Teferi resolves. Because if I Veil of Summer, or if I Red Blast and he Veil of Summers, then I have to force pitching Hull Breacher. Just awful. And following up with Narset is also awful. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have pondered there. Oh god, Force of Will in hand. Alright, we're in trouble now. Okay, so draw for my turn. I Red Blast Narset. See if this is worth the Force of Will. It is not. And I'm gonna Hull Breacher. If this is worth a Force of Will. It is also not. That sucks. Yeah, if he's not worried about a Hull Breacher, then I am worried about everything. Yeah, Prismatic Ending is there. Brainstorm. And now he's got Force of Will over there. So I can fetch Underground Sea and then Mystic Sanctuary, buy back my Red Blast to kill Teferi. I could also buy back Ponder and just try to play through the Teferi. I think that's better. I'm going to get the Ponder. Cast the Ponder. There's a Narset and a Force of Negation. Not going to shuffle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will play around Mystical Dispute. Here's Narset. I'm trying to do all this before he can hardcast Force. So Force pitching Brainstorm. All right, that's done. Now it's Teferi versus. We both have one card left in hand, but I functionally don't, and he has Uro in his deck somewhere. And I know this next draw is bad, but I can shuffle the card that's under it, plus Teferi again. And I'm going to shuffle another Volcanic Island. Ponder, that's a good one. Raven's Crime in response. All right, yeah, cleared the Force of Will. The card was already bad. Ooh, this is big. I think I want Consume on the top, EI under it. Yeah, okay. Not shuffle my library. Consume. If he gets a Loam going, I'm actually in the Teferi Loam Hardlock. Like, Teferi can bounce Consume and then Raven's Crime it next turn. Then I'm drawing Expressive Iteration. I just gotta hope he doesn't have a million lands to crime multiple times. Oh, right. But crime can't instant speed because Teferi had to bounce. But yeah, criming the Consume is good. And I'm drawing Expressive Iteration and then Brainstorm's under it. Please work. He's got a counterspell. He's gonna spend it here because this card is cracked. All right, Force of Will. And now we're back in the Teferi lock. Loam is actually kind of game ending. Oh god, it's Tamiyo. That's dangerous. Now I can't, like, Thoughtseize doesn't work. Tamiyo makes it so you can't discard cards or sacrifice permanents, or your opponent can't make you. All right, let's see. Tamiyo went to Plus Town. What card are we looking for? Named Uro, and one did not appear. All right, I need this Brainstorm to work. Please don't have a land. We're getting retraced. Ugh. Yeah, this is really rough. This is why one of Raven's Crime is so fucked up. And Tamiyo just gets to shred for Uro at this point. And we haven't seen an Endurance yet. Tamiyo minus looking for Ponder. Ponder finds Loam. The game is over. And maybe I got too clever or too scared that turn where he cast a fairy and I didn't red blast it. Just hard to measure those situations sometimes. Raven's Crime again. Ugh. Ugh. I've drawn 4 amazing cards in a row and it doesn't matter because I'm locked out. Witherbloom command is in drain and pick up a land mode. All right, boarded in Plague Engineer. So that land will clear the next card I draw. I guess I need to hope that I see some Endurances end up in the graveyard off of Tamiyo's plus. All right, there goes 1. But Tamiyo can minus to pick up Endurance. Yeah, I can't actually win this game. Yep, and there's Uro, and that's that. Oh, he actually named Endurance on that Tamiyo plus. It's worse than I even thought. All right, yeah, we are dead. GG's. $100 already taken away. Maybe I just need to be aggressive with my Red Blast and not respect the one of Veil of Summer. I even did have Force of Will. I don't know. I either need to push harder or not push as hard. I feel like I lost game 2 because I was jamming Hidetsugu's Consume Sols instead of timing them. And then I feel like I lost game 3 because I wasn't jamming. Interesting. Got to thread that needle somehow. On to the next one. I've won the die roll again in game number 2, match number 2. I'm going to keep the little tricks into Narset land drops all day. Let's do it. I'm already reconsidering my sideboard plans for this match. He left in a lot of counterspells, like a lot of forces. And I think he might be onto something. I left in some, and I brought in Pyroblast, but he had a lot. He also has Raven's Crime, so maybe I should have both Surgicals in post-board. To be determined. Okay, here's a Strix into Consume. Not mad about it. This is the game where there are Swords to Plowshares in the deck, though. Yeah, that Force of Vigor last game was fucked up, too. Did not shuffle either of these Ponders. An Edict, okay, right. I forgot that card's in my deck, because it's usually not. He does have a Mystical Dispute in the main. I'm going to go with the card that's not blue here. There it is. Consume is in play. He's got 2 Narsets, 1 Teferi, 2 Endurance. Yeah, this is the main deck here. 2 Narset, 2 Endurance, 1 Teferi, 3 Uro, 1 Dispute, 1 Force of Negation. There's a Dress Down, only 2 Strix. Edict might be better than I gave it credit for. In my brain did not consciously register he's only playing 2 Strixes. Dark Bant started with 4, then went down to 3, and he's actually down to 2. Oh, Edict on Uro might be a real thing. Oh, Strix, real good. Ooh, that was clever. Milled me with that, because Graveyard's about to get bombed anyway. So just took out a Narset and a Jace from my deck and still hit his land drop. Well played. Hate that shit. I hate when my opponents play well. Bullshit. I'm not going to slam Narset into just nothing. Like, my hand does need some help. I have a main deck Pyroblast. I got Counterspells and Thoughtseizes in my deck somewhere. Gonna play to them. Consume flips here. I really have enough lands now, deck. We're good. Desperately need a Brainstorm. Still playing around that Wasteland. It is kind of annoying how well Endurance lines up. Jesus. Against... Oh, but I have Sudden Edict, so I don't give a shit about Endurance. Let's roll. Yeah, Swords to Plowshares, that's fine. And he should read that I have removal there, because I have skipped combat in our match before based on suspecting Endurance. And I just rammed right into it there. Had Endurance and Plow. Okay. Oh, well. Suddenly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably could escape Uro if he had one there. Alright, Hull Breacher's not bad. Guess I have so many lands I can hang one out for this Wasteland. If I can get him to reduce his resources somehow. He's not playing Field of the Dead or anything like that to keep a land around for. I'm going to float black. Just because I have enough mana either way. And if I can get him thinking about black cards I might have, it's good for me. Okay, sweet. Baleful Strix, let's go. Strix is in. Found a Consume. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not enough to play through Mystical Dispute. There is a 3 mana just cancel mode on Mystical Dispute. Actual mana leak. If Uro drops this turn, that's kind of tough. But I can Hull Breach in response. Demand an answer, though it's a pretty easy answer if it does have the Mystical Dispute. Okay, front half of Uro confirmed. If he has the land and tries to escape immediately, then I can Hull Breach without worrying about Mystical Dispute. And now I can sort of put the screws to it with Consume. Here's another fucking land. And Consume. Consume resolves. And I could go for Narset. Maybe I was supposed to go for Narset and Hull Breacher here. I can Hull Breach and, I mean, just, I've made my land drop every turn, obviously, look at this. But if he does have the counter or removal for Hull Breacher, then I can follow up with Narset. Unfortunate that Swords to Plowshares also gets me here. 7 cards in hand. This Hull Breacher is not going to work one way or the other. Yeah, there's the Mystical Dispute. I tried. And having to play around Dispute for Consume gave them the turn to create Uro. It's tough. Tough crowd. Yeah, Force of Will. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I can Narset and Force back up. Assuming there are lands left in my deck. Pretty sure there are. Lightning Bolt, Ponder, Force of Negation. Ponder. Ponder. Fatal Push, Baleful Strix, Thoughtseize. Yes. Has a permanent left my battlefield this turn. Am I revolted? I don't think so. Did I crack a fetch this turn? Gotta go to the game log to find out. No. So I can put Fatal Push in my hand, but if I do, I lose the Thoughtseize and the Baleful Strix. I could put Strix in my hand, and I mean, if Fatal Push works, then we're good to go. I would love to Strix into push here, but that's not. Oh wait, I do have Mystic Sanctuary. No targets, but okay. I'm gonna actually go for that. So Strix, play Mystic Sanctuary. Oh, I get the Ponder. Not even sure I want that, but I will take it. Strix, because this gives me a blue card for Force, and this Uro has to get through 2 Strixes right now, and Fatal Push is still on top of my deck for next turn. So, yeah, pass. Do I force Prismatic Ending? It's the question. I guess I have to. Can force back really easily, but I have to pick this fight. Uro is just such a fucking problem. So we're gonna get a force here on the hard cast. Then Narset's gone. And Uro can attack and draw a card. I'll trade a Strix for it. Death Touch. And I'm gonna shuffle away that Fatal Push and Thoughtseize that now don't help me. An Underground Sea and a Volcanic Island left in the deck. That was a good card. Please resolve. Please resolve. Please resolve. Nope. No chance. Never gonna resolve. Force pitching Narset. Uro. Just coming right back. God, Uro. Yeah, I mean, even the main deck graveyard hate, just if Uro finds a way through it, which is pretty easy because Darkband is so good with the Witherbloom commands and the Loams and shit at refilling its own graveyard, just here's Uro once again. Enjoy. Another Strix, yes, please. Now I have to try to wade through the Uro. We're getting Force of Will again. Yeah, he's really willing to Force of Will any 2-for-1, like turn any 2-for-1 into a 1-for-1, and it's been working so far. Like the understanding that Uro is the only thing that matters here is pretty significant. Yep, got another attack coming in. Brainstorm, yeah. 6 cards over there to my 0. And this Vessel that gets eaten for free by Endurance. All these Swords to Plowshares that are in the main deck haven't been cut yet. Keep drawing Narsets. Oh god. Now I can block and bolt and get blown out into the sun when they counter the lightning bolt on the back end. I'm just gonna attack here. I can't afford to play around Endurance anyway. Gonna need to come up with something for Uro, regardless. Narset. Alright, she can get lightning bolted. If I care. Might just leave her at 5 to cut me off of outs. That's really smart, if true. This is where Narset reveals the Force of Will, and we just slink off into the night. Oh, left Narset at 5. Good call. One of my own. Not a legend, immune from Caracas at least. Well, I will do my best here. I'll cast the spell that could possibly get me out of this. And we've drawn way too many cards this game, so we're done. I could technically block the Uro, lightning bolted, but then it's just back, so. Yep. Okay, I have now adjusted my plan to... I'm definitely bringing in the extra surgical. Sorin, all the Pyroblasts, Ruination, both surgicals. I'm not playing anymore. Turok. Turok could be good. Turok is definitely in the maybe pile. It's much more for Jeskai than it is for Bant, but it is a sweet card. Polygon's Command. Do I just bring in anything that's a 2 or 3-for-1? But I'm running out of things I can cut. A Fatal Push, Lightning Bolt, Sudden Edict. Edict might be something I'm actually interested in, like I said, but let's map this out, see what it looks like, and then come back to it. Okay, so these 8 cards for these 8 cards are what I did last round. I need to make room for the extra surgical, like the Raven's Crime, the Uro, whatever it is. I want to make sure it's out. Darkband is very much a graveyard deck. Ace seems important. Do I cut a Consume? Consume actually is just Tormod script plus 3/3, where like there's no 1-drops that I'm gonna sweep in this matchup. There might be a Carpet of Flowers, but that's it. And maybe I cut a Consume and focus on surgical. Is it possible I focus on cut a second one and bring in Kolagon's Command? I could cut a Strix for Kolagon's Command, but then Strix is the thing I'd want to pick up with Kolagon's Command. Alright, I'm gonna chill on K-Command and submit this deck. On the play, keeping this hand. I would very much like to ponder off of Underground Sea this turn so I can cast Strix on turn 2, opening myself up to wasteland like that. Not exciting. I am just gonna do it though. Or I could ponder off basic just into any black source. But then if I miss on a black source, my hand sucks. Okay. I'm gonna ponder. Just show me some lands. Okay. Easy money. Okay, I'm set up on lands, even if I get wasted here. Not what happened. Ponder chose to shuffle. Okay. That doesn't happen super often. I get basic island for my Strix. There's Sorin and Red Blast. We have a plan here. Another land, that's good. Strix can attack here. No threat of endurance, but I'd be pretty happy to trade a Strixman endurance anyway. You can hardcast Force of Negation if I need to. I can Red Blast various things. The land go from the opponent. Ooh, Expressive Iteration. That could force some action. Don't mind attacking with Strix. Perfectly happy if endurance blocks it. We are fetching in the end step. It is a green source. I'm not fighting over endurance. I mean, I also can't, but I'm not. I can hardcast Force of Negation and Red Blast if they go for a spell this turn. Ooh, did board in the basic planes. Dramatic ending my Strix. That's kind of annoying. Now endurance is like a real thing, but sure. Still a 2-for-1. Okay, we got plains and Tundra and Trop up. There's a Hydroblast, a Flusterstorm, and a Mystical Dispute in this deck. I can fetch basic Mountain and play Expressive Iteration here. I could just go for Sorin. Yeah, Sorin doesn't get countered by any of those things I just said. I'm going to get basic Mountain and basic Swamp. Yeah, the endurance is really smart. That thing is pressuring Sorin. Anyway, here's Sorin. Okay, Sorin resolved. And then I'm going to look at my top card and put it in my hand probably. Yes, I would like to put Turok in my hand. Let's go. Turok doesn't line up well against Endurance. If I find a black source, I mean, Endurance could also just go face and mess me up. No, definitely going after Sorin, though. Story checks out. A black source for Turok would be so nice here. I get to see 2 cards. I draw for turn and then plus Sorin. First time I've ever had this card in play. Pretty excited about it. No land. We know the hand is 6 spells right now. I'm going to plus Sorin first. Yes, I'll put Surgical Extraction in my hand. And then I'm going to jam Turok on Queso. Can't Force of Negation this. You can Veil of Summer it. You can also Mystical Dispute it. Red Blast, that. I think this is worth doing, because this also bricks the... Alright, so you Hydroblast that, and then I can Force of Will Mystical Dispute. This fight is entirely worth having, in my estimation. You had another one. Bummer. Force pitching Uro. Okay. Alright, so I've lost this fight, and Sorin's about to die. But, I mean, that was a strong showcase for Turok. That card would have been insane there. Just put their hand down to almost nothing, trade with the Endurance. Sorin drew 2 cards, gained me 6 life. God, what is the follow-up here? Tameo, that sucks. Okay, there's Tameo. Yeah, the difference between Endurance being in play and not in play there was huge. Like, Sorin would have just run away with that game, but having a 3/4 creature. Tameo is rebuying a Ponder. I could have surgicaled that, but that's not what this is for. Like, if I can clear this Endurance, the surgical is face up. Like, I can come after him with that. Tameo turns off Thoughtseize, so I just gotta remember that. It's a really good Expressive Iteration turn, though. Yeah, yeah, there's Thoughtseize. I'm gonna put... And I'm gonna kill Tameo. I could kill Tameo and Thoughtseize them. That puts me to 7, then Endurance puts me to 4. Ugh. Not a whole lot left on that one. Okay, I'm gonna put Brainstorm in my hand. Thoughtseize on the bottom, and exile Pyroblast. And kill Tameo. We can hardcast Force if he wants to fight over this. I think holding up Force is the play here. I can take 2 more hits from Endurance. Play from the Loam. If I just snap off... No, okay. I'm not going to force that, because if I snap off Force on this, then you guess Narset, then, fuck me. As tempting as it is. But I even have Surgical, like, just in my hand right now. Alright, deck. Time to help me out here. Brainstorm. Looking for Strixes. Narset, not great. I can put back Surgical and Island. Or Delta. Surgical and Delta. Delta and Surgical. Delta. Fatal Push is not in my deck right now. I'm almost entirely looking for Strix. Surgical and Island can go back. I can Mystic Sanctuary my Expressive Iteration back. Let me see if Narset resolves first. Maybe I need my Edicts in too. Like, this Endurance has just clowned the entire game. Nothing else has happened this game, really, except this Endurance. Like, my Planeswalkers are dead because of this thing, my life total's low because of this thing, and just fucking dying to it. A Force of Vigor also kills Baleful Strix here. Really dangerous. The way my mana is tapped, I can't even cast Baleful Strix if I find one. I'm also just dead on board to Nissa. I'm at 6, and Nissa makes a 3/3. Okay, Mystic Sanctuary targeting Force of Will. Okay. On top of your deck now. Storm. Okay. Brainstorm will pick up the Force, which has to be a 2-for-1, and then I can Force of Negation. And there will be 1 card left in hand that I just have to hope isn't Veil or Fluster. Okay. Took the Force of Will, and then didn't do anything else about it. I know Narset will hit Surgical Extraction. There's Land Surgical on top of my deck right now and 2 mystery cards. Let's go. Days Undoing. Oh, fuck. That's exciting, but the Force of Will that I know is in their hand right now is Days Undoing something I want to play to. Do I take the Surgical and use Brainstorm to further my interests here? I think I have to. No, I'm going to take Days Undoing. I'm going to take Days Undoing and just pass the turn. This kind of forces the issue of attacking Narset instead of going to my life points. I hope, maybe. We'll see. Fuck. Yep, that is the absolute nightmare scenario. You're gonna have to Brainstorm looking for an out to this. Hope he forces the Brainstorm. I guess I should have cracked my fetch first, like Mystic Sanctuary. Oh no, you have Flusterstorm and Force blue card. Sicko. Okay, do I pitch Days Undoing or Jace? I pitch Days Undoing, pretty obviously, I think. And we know Force of Will's in the hand. Oh wow. Flusterstorm must have been the only other blue card. Killing Narset. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna Mystic Sanctuary Red Blast to the top of my deck. Okay. And I'm gonna cast Jace and Bounce Endurance. Okay. Something resembling stability here, but also not really. And only kinda. Loam just dredged. Didn't hit Uro. Not enough green mana to cast Endurance twice. Even with the Loam involved. Got 3 lands back with Loam. Cracked 1 right away. Prismatic Ending on Jace is pretty significant here. Oof. Alright. I need a payoff before this Endurance can come back around. Show me like Strix into something. That's not terrible, nor is it great. It is none of the above. I'm going to set a stop in his draw step. In case he dredges a Loam, I want to be able to clip it. Or dredges Loam and hits Uro, I want to be able to clip it. But now I'm just like sweating to this Endurance that I know is in hand. Come on, Baleful Strix. Back to fetch land and passed. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, maybe I need Sudden Edict in the deck. Just that one Endurance. This thing has... It killed my Sorin, killed my Narset, and now it's killing me. And ain't a thing to do about it. Yeah, like... Jace isn't good enough. Need Baleful Strix just to... for a chance. Did shuffle that one. And here's Uro on the front and back. all at once. I mean, you need a green source to do that. Not currently present. Oh, there it is. All right, well, immediately escaping Uro. We know about the Force of Will in hand. Ugh. And like, I can't even like be mad at this Uro game because like the endurance just fucked me up so hard before that. Yeah, we're just dead to this endurance. Adjusting the plan once again. 0-2, tough start. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. 3 for 3 on die rolls here, and I'm going to keep Island Ponder, right? Thinking about the matchup, I'm not sure that Sudden Edict is the answer. It might... I think I should leave all 4 Strixes in before I start messing around with Sudden Edict, because I did cut a Strix that game, and we saw Plague Engineer from him in one of the games, which means that he's worried about Baleful Strix, because that's the only thing that gets hit by Plague Engineer in the matchup. Or maybe because I've seen Plague Engineer, I should be leaving in an Edict. He just always seems to have way more cards in hand than me, and that is because of Loam and Witherbloom Command and Uro, and that is the appeal of the Bant shell. You just always have cards in your hand and lands in play. Uro's busted. I'm just going to pass here. My top card is a land, and I do want lands. I'm going to need them eventually. Storm, sure. I guess I can brainstorm in the end step. Like if I can find my Red Blast or a Thoughtseize, or I could just keep jamming. Yeah, I think I just want to keep jamming. Underground Sea, Volcanic Island coming. Do I want to lead on Consume or Narset? God, respecting this fucking Mystical Dispute is just the worst. Like, playing around a 1-of feels bad, but like also just like getting hit by a 1-of feels worse. There's no 1-for-1 answer to this, at least. Let's make that happen. It didn't get Witherbloom Command targeting Mead this time. Relief. I'm going to brainstorm now. Force of Negation. This is too many lands. I'm going to put back Underground Sea and Scalding Tarn. Then pass the turn with Force of Negation up. We just go for the Endurance Cheese mode here, which is a lot worse in game 1, but still, I don't have a good answer to. Yeah, that's really good. Highly effective. My handful of Planeswalkers don't like this. They are targeting me. I could Mystic Sanctuary in response and get this Brainstorm back. Actually seems great. Puts the land back in my deck for later also. And the beatdowns begin. I do have Fatal Push and Sudden Edict available in my main deck. Those are cards that are around right now. This mana does not redeploy Endurance. It does cast Uro, which Force of Negation does not target. Mana left unspent feels bad all the time. This is the Brainstorm that I knew I was drawing. I'm gonna cast it. Okay, Thoughtseize Narset is good here. I put back Force of Negation and Force of Will, or Force of Negation and Island. Yeah, I think I want the forces. Thoughtseize you. Yep, the Mystical Dispute was there. It's always there. So I'll take it. And now if you want to force me, you're going to have to lose your Brainstorm to do it. I can get a... Like, do I need black or red more in the main deck? Probably black for Strixes, but being taken off any color is bad. But I am going to get Underground Sea. Narset here. So you can just Brainstorm in response here. Try to come up with a different blue card to force. Find a removal spell. And we're either going to see Brainstorm cast or pitch to force here. Really hope pitches to force, because I can force back and then we're ripping. Looks like it's getting cast though. Because like Swords to Plowshares or Prismatic Ending also kill Narset on this board. I could just force this Brainstorm. Let's go hyper aggro. Then your hand is Life from the Loam, Force of Will facing down Narset. Wow, that feels crazy. Alright, I'm letting Brainstorm resolve. might be a mistake. I don't know. Maybe that's a moment where, okay, Narset resolved. I can get another force. I can get a backup Narset. Yeah, I think the backup Narset's where I want to be. I am going to block with my Vessel this turn. Like, I will use my Force of Will and Chump Block. Or it's the Plowshares even. It's not even... Ugh. Not even Prismatic Ending. Just full leave up Force of Will. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to force the Brainstorm. Jesus. Okay, so like... Narset... Okay. I'm going to let Force or Plow resolve. I'm going to let him escape Uro. I'm going to force Uro, then play Narset, and try to draw an answer to Endurance. And if there's a blue card, if Force Blue card are the last things in his hand, he's got me. Good job. But I think this is the path. Okay. Didn't have Force Blue card, or at least didn't want to use it. Have a absolute boat of Narsets here. Maybe I'm supposed to jam Jace. Ooh, Consume is good, but not yet. I'm gonna take Thoughtseize. Get a peek. I'll take this Force of Will. Your hand is life from the loam. I'm gonna lose another Narset here, but I have another one. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to Jace there and bounce the Endurance. You're gonna see a no value loam. Yeah, just setting up the dredge. Ugh. Left up the correct colors this time. All right, the third Narset. Let's go. I think this one doesn't get to activate. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'm gonna keep shredding. Let's go. Pyroblast, Ponder. Pyroblast does check the Uro for a little while. I think I have to Ponder. Ponder. Brainstorm, land. Shuffle this. Okay, there's Hull Breacher. I guess the upside of having 5 of this effect in your deck is that you draw it a lot. But once again, I'm just getting absolutely mushed by Endurance. Difficult to remove 3/4 creature. Did not Dredge Loam. Another Narset dead. Polluted Delta. I think I'm just casting Hull Breacher this turn. I have some life points to play with. Getting Mystic Sanctuary, targeting Force of Will. I'm gonna get my Hull Breacher in right now. You can decide if you actually want Force or not. Still do, okay. Force of Will's in the hand. They are winning the race. My Mystic Sanctuary is already spent. Need a Strix. Not a Strix. Just passing in case he has the other Endurance, which, based on how this entire set has gone so far, definitely does. Oh god, found Raven's Crime. That's bad. Raven's Crime can take my swamp. Loam. No more black sources. I mean, this is going to get me empty, though. So it can make another black source. Still don't think I can interact with this thing. On removal. Jeez. Force of Will is still up over there. Guess I gotta demand it. Yeah, none of this. I'm just dying to Endurance over and over again. Just 3/4 body with Lightning Bolt in my hand. It's terrible. And Raven's Crime is active. Uro's about to come out. Like, this is over. Like, extremely over. Raven's Crime can take my swamp. I still can't block this thing. I'll take one more draw. I'm getting crimed again here. Bolt you. That'll show you. Should probably just put Uro into play as a 6/6, and that really messes up my options. The only cards in hand right now are lands, but Uro's about to escape and draw a different card. If I draw like Expressive Iteration into 2 removal spells, this game is still on. My Days Undoing is my best draw, but even that I might die to. Yep, there's Uro. I get a treasure. You don't get a card. Oh, right, Loam. Yeah, you can replace the draw with Dredge. I don't get a treasure. Okay, come on, Days Undoing. Sudden Edict. I mean, I'm strictly not dead. Go ahead. Fucking Sudden Edict. If this had arrived any turn before this one. Alright, let you attack. I will enjoy my treasure token. Then I'll Sudden Edict. and then chump block Uro. Endurance is the sack here. And chump block. Oh, no, I guess that's right, because Uro can just escape again. Yeah, that was right. For all the talk about Hidetsugu consumes all, controlling graveyards, and like having a real chance against Uro, we continue to get the absolute clinic of why black decks can't beat Uro. I'll take another draw. And another removal spell. Yep, all of that's too late. Yeah, that Sudden Edict 3 turns ago, this Fatal Push 3 turns ago. We're looking at a different game, but nope. Sorin definitely. Turok still worth its energy. Both Surgicals, all the Rebs. Ruination. I would like to cast that one. Come on now. Maybe the extra Thoughtseize doesn't get to come in. If he's got Veil of Summer and Tameo. Oh, Fatal Push, Lightning Bolt. Some Forces. A Consume. A Sudden Edict. Leave all my Strixes behind. This is still too many cards. Sure, I don't want Dead of Winter. It's going to come in with one creature at a time. An Edict covers that. Strix is good at that. Yeah, I think I do want a Sudden Edict. One of them. I can't cut an Arshid or a Hull Breacher. Days Undoing could be cut if I don't think I'm going to stick those things, but having that eject button is really nice. Cut another Force of Will. Just play to the board more. Haven't taken that approach yet. Okay, I'm going to try this. Just an extra Strix and an extra Edict over what I've been doing before. One less Thoughtseize than I've brought in the past. Okay, I'll keep this hand. It's got lands. Turok's pretty exciting. I think he's got a Ponder on turn 1. Do I just cast Turok? Just like put 2/1 for a white into play? Is that possibly right? Oh, that's interesting. Like I can go 2/1 pro white, Thoughtseize you next turn, and then Turok grows. Okay, I'm gonna get basic Swamp and Volcanic Island and cast Turok. No kicker. Here's this card. This will keep Teferi's and Narsets kind of under control. It can also attack Tameo. I think I want to Thoughtseize, then Narset all in one turn next turn. It also lets me see if he's going to have Endurance to block with next turn. Veil of Summer would be a pretty significant blowout, but it always will. I should have waited on that Underground Sea. Like if I need to pivot and play Strix instead of Narset, now I can't do that. Oh god, the Veil of Summer. Yep. The one of Veil of Summer finally showed up when I'm casting Thoughtseize. Fucking obliterated. I'm gonna jam Narset though. Let's go. Got a Force of Will out of that. Yeah, all these one-ofs, it's just impossible to navigate all of them. Oh, Witherbloom Command kills Turok. Right, that fucking card. Okay. Yeah, Witherbloom Command wiping out Turok here because Thoughtseize was countered by Veil. Like, just horrific turn of events. Okay, there's your Narset. I think I gotta use Turok to pressure that. Just based on how I've drawn this game up. Dispute. Okay. Thoughtseize would be a great draw now. Nope. I can pick Thoughtseize up next turn with Mystic Sanctuary if I want to go that route. And I can hardcast a Force this turn if I need to, which would be tough to get through this Mystical Dispute. I mean, is what it is. God, Strix. Just in time. Alright, I am not buying back Thoughtseize now. Okay, does that... Oh, you have Narset in play, and I don't, so this is actually just horrific. I mean, I can play just a Strix to challenge Narset, like a no-draw, here's Baleful Strix. I think I want to just hang out on my Force of Will a little longer. I don't know, I feel this game slipping away already. That Veil of Summer just broke everything. Maybe I'm acting too quickly. Endurance just being a flash threat that's so hard to answer and has such a big impact, like, incentivizes me to act, but when I act, I get punished by the reaction, and yeah, that... I'm not sure if I'm playing bad or just the play patterns of the matchup make it so that is the reality. Okay, I'm gonna force this right now while the Mystical Dispute is sleeping. Probably just gonna jam Nissa now. God, cracking the 5th land. Here comes Nessa. It can never be stopped. Oh, it's just Baleful Strix, don't worry. Draw for turn. Still not helpful. Guess I'll play this. Yeah, Turok is definitely better against Jeskai than it is here. Just endurance and these Strixes, all this shit. Oh, and here's Uro, and I'm just in no position to even pretend to fight over it. Uro missed its land drop, so there's 5 spells in that hand right now. 2 of them are Uro. Cool. Yep, still 5 spells in the hand. Uro is arriving next turn if I don't draw something good right now. Jace is a magic card. Not a great one. Somehow. Here's Jace. And because they played both Strixes, the 2 Strixes in the deck are both in play. If it was just one, I could clear Narset here by bouncing one, but that's not where we are. I'm going to crack my fetch, get an island, and then scry one. No, do not put Narset on the bottom. That is one of the few cards that could actually help me here. Not that I expect anything to be super helpful. I see the 6 spells in hand over there, and I know one of them is Mystical Dispute. I could try to set up like a multi-turn line where I buy back Thoughtseize you, Narset, Days Undoing all at once. But I think I'm too far behind to the Uro for that to even be a thing. This looks like a Tameo. Okay, so the Thoughtseize doesn't matter anyway. Okay, there's Tameo. And just brainstormed, so you know you're going to hit something if you want it. Brought back Veil of Summer. Okay, so your spells can't be countered. I can't target you with stuff anyway. Right. Okay. Yeah, I can't do anything. So might just have to slam Narset and hope for the best. Like, we're at least ahead of Mystical Dispute and Force of Negation right now. Like, it's gonna be a 2-for-1 if we get a counter here. Let it resolve. That's a deal. I know you have Veil of Summer in hand, so getting Force of Will isn't helpful. Strix's attack for 2, so Narset can activate once and still be in action. Alright, there's a Red Blast and a Sorin. Red Blast can hit Tameo, and then... Or Red Blast can... Yeah, Red Blast can hit Tameo, then I can bring back Thoughtseize and resolve Days Undoing. But Narset is still in play, so that's not helpful. I could grab Sorin and jam it. Can't. Okay, this is tough. I'm jamming Sorin, though. Is there an Underground Sea in my deck? There is. Okay. Getting Sorin. Let's go. Underground Sea, Sorin. Mystical Dispute and Veil of Summer don't stop this. Sorin, I'm going to make a lifelink vampire. I'm going to Jace target myself. Do not put Narset on the bottom. Okay. Things are happening. Tameo is naming a card. Tameo named Uro and did in fact hit one. Barry's kind of a beating. So that gets to bounce my vampire, and then Sorin dies. There's a Witherbloom command anywhere in this mix. Turok also dies. Teferi can't bounce Turok. Teferi can bounce vampire. Raven's Crime fucks me up here. Prismatic Ending. Alright, so it's going to clear just all my planeswalkers here, except for Jace. But if you attack with Strixes, then Turok gets to attack. Okay, committing to killing Sorin. Alright. There is, like, something resembling a real window to do stuff here. So I can attack Narset. Take out that one. Jace can actually brainstorm now. If that's even good or important. Jace brainstorm. I can't Thoughtseize him anyway, and I know about Veil of Summer. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. I think Jace needs to brainstorm. The land is good. The cantrips are good. Put Ponder on top. Land. Narset. We have a Force of Will. It's incredible how Tameo and Teferi between them blank most of the spells in my deck. Like, cantrips and Red Blast are the only spells in my deck that are even do anything right now. Okay, Narset resolved. Gonna activate her. Ponder, Brainstorm. Ponder is better than Brainstorm here, I believe. I can Baleful Strix, still ignoring Mystical Dispute. Okay, spending Mystical Dispute on that is fine. Gonna get... Yeah, there's no spells worth buying back, so I'm just gonna get Volcanic Island and pay. Then Strix arrives, I draw a card, it's Ponder, and I pass the turn. Oh, here we are. I have Narset in play, Teferi plus. This Turok has done a lot. Just 2-1 protection from white. It killed Narset, it did all sorts of stuff. So Tamiyo just kamikazed herself to pick up Narset, which turns Thoughtseize back on, though I know Veil of Summer's in the hand. Oh god, there's Nissa. He might have to Days Undoing just to, like, even be in this game at all. If he goes land Nissa right now, I'm in trouble. Doesn't do all that, then Days Undoing could... Like, if both of us have no cards in hand, but I have Jace and Turok, I don't know, that gets interesting. Turok might be able to pick off Teferi here. Ooh. This is not Endurance mana. It is Force of Negation mana. Yeah, I can't Ponder. That doesn't work. I'm dead to Nissa next turn, so I better attack Teferi while I can. Attack Teferi. Oh, there's a play here. I can bounce Turok with Jace, replay Turok with Kicker, kill Veil of Summer, which is the card drawn for Narset for the turn, and then I can try Days Undoing. It's risky, but I think it's good. I bounce Turok, cast with Kicker, black, 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 blue. And it is target opponent. I don't have to target myself if he Veils. That's fine. All right, you've drawn your card for the turn. And Moment of Truth. The Veil also means he doesn't have to think about Red Blast. So pretty safe from that, but I obviously would have Red Blasted the Narset before I went for the Undoing. Okay, we've just undone. Both players have 0 cards in hand. I have Jace. He gets the first draw and a Narset activation, and he can kill my Narset. Mystical Dispute and a mystery card in hand. Even lines up perfectly, so the Narset, like, I don't get to crack back. Oh, right, I can bounce Strix and then attack Narset. Maybe I should have bounced Turok there, but I need to kill Narset. Please don't have Endurance as your one mystery card. Okay, okay. We have something resembling a game here. Strix is back, that gets a draw. If I can start actually activating Jace, I'm gonna feel good. Ponder, shit. I knew that was risky, but I was just dead if I didn't. Right, the Mystic Sanctuary is back in the deck, picks up Ponder. Okay, God, do you have Uro right away? Brainstorm into Ponder. There's so many things happening right now. Please don't find Prismatic Ending. Or Witherbloom Command, holy shit. There's so many good spells in that deck. Here's the Ponder. I expect he's probably shuffled away the Mystical Dispute at this point. I have so many lands. Decided not to shuffle. That's bad for me. No black mana, so I'm not getting Witherbloom commanded. Uro has immediately rejoined the party, though. Okay, they can attack Jace for 1. Okay, let's see what I draw here. I'm going to get at least 1 Jace Brainstorm. Baleful Strix, okay. I'm going to do that first. Looking for Graveyard Hate. Come on, Surgical Extraction. Oh, wow. Ruination. Happy to... I can Thoughtseize, then Ruination. Okay. I'm going to put back the 2 lands. Yeah, put back the 2 lands. The Scalding Tarn on top, because there is Mystic Sanctuary still in my deck. Then Thoughtseize you. I'm going to take Force of Will. The rock gets bigger. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. It's time, baby. Ruin. Absolute ruin. Oh my god, we got the concession. Holy shit. I thought I lost that game so many times. Wow. Days Undoing. Finally, Ruination hit the stack and ended the game immediately. Alright. Game 3. Yeah, Tameo really fucked up my Thoughtseize for a long time there. That was bad. Sorin was good, Ruination was good. On the draw, does my interest in force effects change? I don't think so. Does my interest in Kolaghan's command change? In killing 2 Strixes with K command is good. Killing a Strix picking up Turok is good. Killing Strix picking up Strix. Killing Narset picking up Strix. I'm just getting more and more interested in Kolaghan's command as this matchup evolves. What do I cut for it if that's what's going on? I don't think I can go to 0 Force of Will. Nissa is in that deck somewhere. Though between the Mystical Disputes, Flusterstorms, and Veil of Summers, Force of Will is a massive liability. But can I beat this deck just playing to the board? Because Nissa and Uro just play to the board, and they're pretty fucked up. Do I want Lightning Bolt as additional pressure for Planeswalkers? I don't think so. Like, I have these Pyroblasts. Yeah, Kolaghan's command is additional pressure on Planeswalkers. Though Veil of Summer does blanket, that's tough. How am I beating Nissa if I don't have Force in my deck? I mean, I have Force of Negations. I can... Maybe I should be playing towards Ruination, like, all the time. I'm gonna go like this. I'm getting, like, thinner and thinner. I'm getting more and more fair. Like, now that I know how many counterspells he has and how well his 1-mana counterspells line up against Force of Will, I'm just more and more interested in going to the board. I don't think I've won a single counter war that we've actively engaged in the entire match. We've kept this hand 4 lands Thoughtseize. I'm not going to Thoughtseize on turn 1. That's usually not how Thoughtseize is best used. I'm going to Ponder, though, and I'll give him a Wasteland target. I have enough lands that I can play through Wasteland, so I'm not worried about it. These are all good cards. Brainstorm, okie dokie. If he ponders here, I'm Thoughtseizing. Okay, cool. Just let me through the Veil of Summer, and I'll find a path. Did not shuffle the library. I'm going to represent red mana and cast Thoughtseize. All right, we got Tameo, Nissa, Dispute, Hydroblast. Nissa is a big someday problem. Tameo is a more imminent soon problem. I mean, I could take Mystical Dispute and just jam Narset next turn. Hydroblast counters consume, but that's not where I'm going here. Time to decide if I'm going to be proactive or reactive. Hydroblast, both of these counter Expressive Iteration. I am really worried about Tameo, actually. But if you cast Tameo, then... I mean, Tameo into Nissa is guaranteed 5th land drop because you pick up the Polluted Delta. Can I get to... Oh, nope, can't even Thoughtseize the Nissa because of Tameo's passive. I think I'm just going to take Tameo and play around the soft counters where I can. I have a lot of respect for that card. But that also tells him that I don't have Red Blast right now. It's an unfortunate message to send because it's true. I'm going to get Volcanic Island. I do like Strix. Been perfectly willing to counterspell Strixes so far in this league. Alright. I'm going to cast this. If he disputes it, I'm going to pause like I'm thinking about Red Blast. Okay, didn't dispute it. I'm still representing Red Blast. The 5th mana is coming. Like, Nissa is happening next turn. I need a Thoughtseize, like, now. Yeah, Hydroblast and Mystical Dispute. Like, I can pick up Thoughtseize next turn. Okay, I'm just gonna hope he doesn't jam, but I'm not sure why he wouldn't, because it is almost free to do. If he doesn't have a 6th land to dispute protect, could just escape Uro here. All of this is bad for me, though. If he doesn't cast Nissa here, I'm gonna Mystic Sanctuary my Thoughtseize and seize it. God, Nissa's fucked. This thing arrives on 5 loyalty and immediately goes to 6, too. Please cast Uro. Please cast Uro. Please cast Uro. I'll never ask you to cast Uro again. Just now is when I want this to happen. Okay. We somehow dodged. It's just Uro. Wink, wink. Okay, Uro's in play. I'm going to Mystic Sanctuary my Thoughtseize back to my hand. Thoughtseize. Yes. 2 Thoughtseize for turn. No surprises there. Land. Seize. Please don't have Veil of Summer now. I know 3 of the cards in your hand. Mystical Dispute, Hydroblast. I'm taking Nissa, of course. Burrow, Mystical Dispute, Hydroblast are in the hand. Next turn, I can play around Hydroblast, or play around Dispute with Nissa. Do I want to try to flesh out a Hydroblast now? Like, draw step plus Uro attack is 2 draws. There is a Mystic Sanctuary in the deck, so I don't gain a lot by just running cards out of their hand, because they can reload them. Okay, I'm gonna wait a turn and hope this holds up. Okay, first draw. No Prismatic Ending. Don't do it. No, that's the one card? The one card you had was that? Ah. And now it's just gonna cast a fairy or some shit and just had 2 cards. They're both perfect. GG's. Thanks for trying. Okay, deck. Let's do something here. Okay, I'm gonna cast Narset, and I can pay for Mystical Dispute. Still gonna do it because it is correct to do that. Yes, pay. Boots in the graveyard. Narset, load me up. Pyroblast, Ruination, Consume. Ruination, it's a little late for that. I'm gonna take Pyroblast. And now we will find out together if he's gonna kill Narset or just put me to 2. Like, I'm at 8. I'm actually dead to Witherbloom Command. Oh, it's just another Prismatic Ending. Okay. Didn't really matter, it seems. Guess I probably needed to force some negation that, but I don't know, it all feels so futile. I'm gonna need to force some negation the Pyroblast on my turn. Or the Hydroblast. You have 2 unknown cards in your hand. Is one of them Witherbloom Command or not? Okay, it's the other Uro. Just cycling that one. I'm at 2, dead to Witherbloom Command at any point. 2 Pyroblasts. That's good. I don't have 3 red sources though. Okay. Oh, he saw Pyroblast, so I should cast that. Pyroblast Uro. And there's Hydroblast. And then I'm gonna force of negation Hydroblast. So I can cast Expressive Iteration. Blue, red, Jace, Brainstorm. Okay, so put Jace in my hand, Prismatic Fist on the bottom, exile Brainstorm, land, fetch, I'm at 1, cast Brainstorm. Scalding Tarn is a dead card, I'm at 1. Okay, I'm gonna have to Pyroblast Uro, set up Consume. This is just a really bad spot. The fact that Baleful Strix is lethal, Endurance is lethal, Witherbloom Command, just every card kills me. Okay, here's Uro. At 35 life over there. Kill my 1. And Narset. Okay. Narset found Carpet of Flowers. Okay, I can consume that. Okay. Oh, right. Carpet gets the second main. No love, though. All right, cool. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's exactly enough mana to consume Red Blast and Jace. So I'm gonna Jace first. Jace. Gonna Red Blast Narset. Force Pitching Force. Okay. Bounce Uro. And play Consume. This kills the carpet. Consume. We are a long way into this set of games, and Consume has finally destroyed a permanent. That fetch land means that Uro can escape this turn. Did need to generate 1 more card there. And Jace can bounce Uro again. In the Witherbloom Command, being lethal is just so horrible right now. As Narset gets to dig, and Uro gets to dig, everything gets to dig. If I was at 3 life, I would feel like medium good about this game, but 1 is just, 2 and 1 are just not okay. Force of negation. Front half of Uro. And back half of Uro. Yep, there's that also. And we're going to go to my turn. I'm not going to exile their graveyard, because it doesn't have one. There's that Scalding Tarn I knew was on top. Bounce Uro again. This is just, like, not a real thing. Oh, and Veil of Summer. Alright. Dead anyway. Yeah, that one turn where it was like Baleful Strix versus Uro, and it's like, I know your hand, please don't draw Prismatic Ending, and then Prismatic Ending was just surprise on top of the deck. I'm not tilted, like I'm not mad, those cards are in the deck, but I said when in the pre-show chat with Pokemoki, I said like there will be board states where like variants one way or the other, where like I'll top deck a Red Blast for your Narset, or you'll do this or that. That was one of those spots, and I feel like I did what I could there, and it was just like, here's this card. Sorry. On to the next one. I finally lost a die roll. Maybe that'll help. Gonna keep this hand. Didn't have a Ponder to start. That's good for me. There's the turn 2 Ponder. Not Shuffle. Theta Tundra. I have Brainstorm here. I'll probably do it in the end step, or in response to a Narset. But maybe like don't have Narset. How about that? Burrowing. No, this looks like Narset. Okay. I'm gonna get Basic Island. Cast Brainstorm. Oh, fuck my life. Okay. Here is a lot of cards that are not lands. Expressive Iteration I can cast next turn. Jace is a long way off. And I can put my own Narset or my Hull Breacher. Like, Hull Breacher can attack Narset, but I guess I'd rather have my own Narset between the two. And I'm gonna Force of Negation, pitching Force of Will this thing. I kind of expect that he has some protection here, or just is okay with the 2-for-1. This is a really aggressive slam on the play, because like if I untap and play my Narset, right, Force pitching Strix. All right, I'm going to use Lightning Bolt to finish this thing off. I hope. Let's see if he activates it. And I'm going to get Volcanic Island and Bolt in response before this gets to pick up a card. Finally, Lightning Bolt did something in the matchup. I found Brainstorm. All right, deck. Give me the land off the top. Let me blank this Brainstorm. Land. Yes. Okay, I'm going to fetch Basic Swamp and cram my Narset. All right, you had Double Force. That's what we were doing over there. All right. I also had Double Force, though. I pitched the Brainstorm to Force, so that's gone. Narset, load me up on my Brainstorm. Okay. Wasteland on my red source would suck, because Expressive Iteration is my plan to pull ahead. Just Prismatic Ending my Narset is, like, annoying, but it's already got a card. Okay. We're just both doing this. And he only has 2 of those. I have 4. There's Teferi. That's a good one. Oh. Well, you still have Narset in play, which makes this a lot worse. Yeah, I'm going to activate mine. I have a Pyroblast and a Lightning Bolt in my main deck. Iteration. Red, blue. I do need to hit a land off of this. Jesus. No breaks in this league. Okay, I'm gonna put, I guess, Baleful Strix in my hand, because it can attack. Exile, or put Ponder on the bottom, exile Fatal Push. Fucking fuck. Well, Teferi's gonna resolve. And then I am just sitting over here in the weeds. Teferi's a 1-of, by the way. Narset's a 2-of. Raven's Crime. Okay, my hand sucks. I can handle a Raven's Crime. The Raven's Crime plus Teferi business is really bad, though. A Lightning Bolt or my main deck Pyroblast are both what I'm interested in here. Sudden Edict, not it. Teferi can bounce Strix, but, like, I still need this thing in play. Because neither of us can draw extra cards, Teferi bouncing Strix is just, like, completely, like, nothing. It's, like, unsummon on a Gray Ogre in Limited. Alright, Plow's actually really good, though. Ending my Narset, that's bad. Raven's Crime. Alright, now you can draw cards with Teferi. Fuck. Alright, deck, how about a land? Like, let me put Jason to play at least. Thoughtseize. Is that actually good? There's 3 cards over there. What they are. Burrow, Tameo. Well, let's get rid of Tameo at least. Burrow and Raven's Crime in the hand. What a nightmare. And there are Wastelands in that deck somewhere. Just pick off my Volcanic Island and we're done. Yeah, there's Uro. Okay. That's a card I can cast. a turn too late, but here it is. Though Sudden Edict is actually awesome. So because I can't cast instants, it's much worse than I want it to be. Never mind. I mean, I get to put Uro in the graveyard at least, but that's all I get to do. Plenty of cards to escape it twice. Yeah, like if I could cast instants, it would be like in my in response to Hidetsugu consumes all, Sudden Edict, Uro's dead, and then the graveyard's gone, including the Uro, but I don't get that. And I can bomb the graveyard and then kill the Uro, and they have to reload it from 0, but that's a lot worse than taking the Uro with it. Okay, I drew a land. Cast Jace next turn. I can Sudden Edict my opponent. Ponder. Yeah, when one player can draw cards and the other can't, it's a very bounced consume. So, alright, yep. Found the Wasteland. Like I said, that would eventually be a problem. I could still replay Consume, but they are showing a counterspell of some variety. I don't think they would have bounced this thing if they couldn't fight it on the way back down. I'm expecting just Force of Negation or Mystical Dispute. Yep. Feeds the Uro. Ravens crime me. Oh no, Teferi didn't plus this turn. Right. Did not go for Uro this turn. Can't cast that card. Yeah, Wasteland plus just in my 21 land deck, 35 cards in. I have 4 lands. I guess there's more than that. There's one more than that. I don't think I'm going to kill this Teferi this game. So I'll discard Force of Will there. I think Days Undoing is one of the only ways I can get back in the game. Jace does bounce Uro if I need it to. Days Undoing or Brainstorm. Alright, I'm giving up on Days Undoing. Mystic Sanctuary buys back. Is that a Brainstorm? That's a Ponder. Okay, buys back Ponder. Plus Teferi, cast Ponder. He doesn't even need to move on Uro. It's just like, wait for a Witherbloom command. Wait for a Loam. Read his hand. Fuck you, Jack. Fuck you. Brainstorm. Another Brainstorm. Storm is 2. Storm is 3. This is all in my end step. Chose to shuffle the Ponder. And Ravens crime me. I guess let's use Brainstorm. He just has all the time in the world right now. Teferi's back up to 4. Teferi's about to draw the 3rd card this game of just like -3, plus, -3, plus, -3. Even if I draw Consume here, it's just not even good against Teferi. Or I could just keep drawing cards I can't cast. Witherbloom command, draining me and picking up a land, which is also a Raven's crime. Yeah, you can get a Narset. Oh, they dredged Loam. Alright, yeah, I'm just dead. I'm not getting out of a Loam block. Second time Teferi Loam has come in. Zoran, K-Command, Turok, Surgical Extraction, all the Red Blasts. Ruination. Still don't think I can fit the extra Thoughtseize in. When I went to 0 forces, that like kind of, I mean, I eventually lost to Narset, but like, or I eventually, like, I forget what I lost to, but the Thoughtseizes did pick apart the Nissa plan. So this is what I did last time. Do I actually think Sudden Edict is good? It's not bad. Is it worse than Force of Will? Or is it better than Force of Will? Having no forces feels so bad, but also so correct. All right, on the play, no forces. I'll think about forces for the draw. On the play, lands and a bunch of spells. First appearance of Kolagon's command. Let's see if that one's any good. Lead on Delta. I don't think it matters. Like, I'm not gonna Red Blast a Ponder. Carpet. Shit. Yeah, first turn 1 carpet of the matchup. That could generate some advantage. Gonna end step Brainstorm. Get basic island. Gonna turn on the carpet. Found the land I was looking for. Narset's good. Force of Negation doesn't protect Narset. Red Blast can protect it in the future. I think K-Command is a later card. And I can keep the Brainstorm. And then fetch basic Swamp. Cast Strix. This lets me advance without giving too much extra mana to the carpet, and I'm still holding up Red Blast. Alright, Surgical Extraction is here. That's a card I've seen distressingly little of, despite identifying that it's really important. I have Red Blast and Force of Negation that can try to fight a Narset out of play. There's Uro. Okay, I'm excited about this. Gotta watch out for Flusterstorm, but this is the first game where Uro will not be a problem because I am here for Surgical Extraction. Okay, I'm gonna Surgical right now while the stack is empty and get rid of this thing. Endurance Dispute. Write these down. All right, Endurance Dispute to Fairy Veil Witherbloom. It's a pretty good set of cards. Get your Uros out. I get to look at the whole sideboard plan too. There's one Plow still in the deck. Plague Engineer, Nissa, 2 Narset. Both Mystical Disputes, obviously. Grixis. Oh, Dress Downs are in. Interesting. What does Dress Down do in the matchup? Turns off Hull Breacher. I'm surprised to see the Dress Downs. And no Force of Vigor, which we did see earlier. So he's doing stuff over there. He's moving cards around. Okay. And there is a Dispute to Fairy and Veil over there. Go for Brainstorm, see if that's worth a dispute here. Okay, so I can Pyroblast the Dispute, or I can save that. Yeah, he knows that's good. All right, get an attack in there. If I'm gonna fight this to Fairy, I think I have to fight it in play, which has not worked out well in the past. But I literally know about the Veil of Summer, just face up in hand. Okay, to Fairy resolves. I hate it, but there it is. Endurance, Veil, Witherbloom Command are the 3 cards in hand. Witherbloom Command can kill Strix and pick up a land. Could bounce Carpet, replay Carpet, get the mana back, but that's mana neutral because they only have 1 island. Cracking a Fetch. Oh, this could be Mystical Dispute. Okay. Now, do you want to leave that up? Or my Pyroblast? Okay. Bouncing my Strix. Oh, God, I hope I draw a land right now. And right now, we did it. Okay. So, Swamp. Fortunately, I am iced to Wasteland once again. Red Blast to Fairy. I know all the cards in the hand right now. Can't cast Endurance with the mana that's available. I think I just have to pass. Or do I flush out the Dispute with Strix right now? No, I'm just going to pass. Not using Carpet. The hand is all reactive spells. We know about Veil of Summer, so that Thoughtseize is pretty bad. Brainstorm dodges Dispute, and it's the card that I want to cast most. Consume, Edict, Turok. These cards are all pretty cool. If I put back Edict and Turok, Endurance, Veil, Witherbloom Command. How do I get this Veil flushed out? If I cast Consume right now, what happens? Endurance, Veil, Witherbloom. Yeah, I mean, it'll be good for at least the Dispute. And it kills Carpet. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's no Uros in the deck, so he's less worried about Consume than he would have been otherwise. Damn Endurance here. Target yourself, probably? Do you even want all those lands back in your deck? No, I didn't think so. Yeah, there's not even cards there that you want in your deck. Just get rid of them. Veil is pretty brutal. It's okay. So all graveyards. Baleful Strix, go. Dress Down, okay. Yeah, that plays. I don't get to draw a card, but I do get to have my Death Touch creature in play, which is mostly what I'm after here. Oh, Dress Down answers Turok. Clever. Okay, I get it. Witherbloom Command kills Strix, so he's not even worried about that. Tough crowd. Tamiyo just hit the graveyard. This fucking Veil of Summer is just absolute night. Strix. I don't think I Pyroblast this. All this 1 mana interaction in his deck is just embarrassing mine, and he has so many more lands than me, and the ability to hit land drops more than me. The mana advantage just makes the spells so much worse. That's Sudden Edict. Good stuff, huh? So I could Thoughtseize to flush the Veil out. That seems so bad. So if I Thoughtseize, it gets Veiled. I Narset, it gets Disputed. I could just play Turok as a 2/2, but that's not actually doing anything on this board. Or a 2/1. I thought I was behind in this matchup on paper, and it's much worse than I even thought. Like, this all has been horrific. Could Red Blast a Strix. Just try to work my way into this Endurance. I could Thoughtseize, they Veil, I Force of Negation, Veil, they Mystical Dispute, and then those two cards are gone. But that doesn't even do anything, and it uses all my mana. Oh, this is awful. Just not even advancing the game. I'm just sitting here with my head in my hands talking about how awful this is and how I'm not going to get any money for this entire endeavor. My inactivity timer just came on. Yeah, I know, Moto. Thanks. He literally doesn't need to take a game action. All right. I think I'm just going to cast Turok as a creature. They can double block Endurance together. Like, I can Sudden Edict to take out a Strix, double block Endurance, and then start to stabilize the damage part of the board at least. There's no Uros in the deck, so if I can get the board stable, that's actually a huge deal. Like, there's not really a Cavalry coming if I can stabilize against the 2 Strixes and 2 Endurances. Those are all the win conditions. Attacking me with the 2 Strixes. Doesn't want to get double blocked by Endurance. Okay, I'm going to let that happen. Because if I tap out a Pyroblast and he does something else, that sucks. All right, now Sudden Edict. I'm going to do that. If he sacks the Endurance, then I get to start attacking. All right, yeah, sacked a Strix. Okay, now I can cast a blue card with Pyroblast backup. I know Veil and Dispute are over there. I might just have to work through the Veil, just cast Thoughtseize, be sad about it. Or no, now I can Thoughtseize. All right, let's go. Thoughtseize you. You Veil. I Force of Negation, Veil. You Mystical Dispute, Force of Negation. I Red Blast that. Disappointing. Alright, I guess I need to flush the Dispute out anyway. That's so much mana over there. This is all just abysmal. Oh. At least found the mana to get through those things. And maybe there's some universe where my Narset resolves next turn. Brainstorm, that's a good one. Raven's Crime, fuck. There goes my Narset. I did all that work for nothing. It's gotta stabilize against this Baleful Strix. Come on, deck. Help me out here. That's not it. And I see Raven's Crime over there, so I can't even, like, sandbag that. Brainstorms, Ponders, got all sorts of action over there that I don't have. He really doesn't need much right now, just like a force somewhere in these 4 cards. Prismatic Ending's pretty good too. Now the attacks just push through, put me to 1, can't use this fetch land anymore. So I have to chump block. Yeah, I can't go to 1. And Narset, just show me any counterspell. Yep. Okay. Wow. Smeared across the pavement so far. There's 1 match left, 1 chance left to get any money out of this endeavor. Holy shit. This is so bad. Again, not tilted, just like really sinking in how little 4 Hidetsugu consumes all plus 2 surgical extractions does against this graveyard-based control deck. Like, wow. The 3-4 butt on Endurance, so messed up. 1 mana interaction. Unreal. Okay, final match coming. I'm on the draw for the final round. Final opportunity. I'm going to keep. Started off with a Ponder. Notes from this league so far. Tamiyo's been incredible. Nissa's really scary. Haven't drawn Rio Nation very often. Uro, mega fucked up. Even when you're pretty stacked against specifically Uro, still mega fucked up. Force and extra lands. I will take Force now. Land in my hand. Alright, we're both playing Strix game. Strix. Drawing Force of Negation. I have all my colors, though I am exposed to Wasteland on the red. I would have blocked if that trade was offered. It was not. Okay, no longer necessarily root on any colors if I don't want to be. I think I want to just hold up Brainstorm or hold up Force of Negation. Jamming Consume is, I don't know, it felt good the first time I did it, and then it's felt bad every subsequent time. There's Endurance. Targeting me. Okay. Assume there's a removal spell involved here. I mean, Force of Negation seems fine. Pokemoki's been really aggressive about fighting over the Strixes, like Force of Wills and various other powerful cards being used on Baleful Strix, and I think he's right. Like, he's been doing that since the start, and he's onto something. Come on now. Thought we were friends. I don't like this, but I think it is correct. Like, I've bled out to Endurance enough times that I'm not letting it happen again if I can avoid it. I can Brainstorm and then Consume here. I could also jam Narset here. Okay, Volcanic Island, go into the deck. And Lightning Bolt might be interesting to me. So, no, I'm gonna get rid of Lightning Bolt. I could slam Narset right now, or I could slam Consume. He's doing loam shit over there. I'm gonna Consume. Consume is in play. My shields are down, though. Dredged, hit Wasteland, Tropical Island. Looks like he's gonna get 3 lands to go here. Any cantrip effect can, like, dredge up 3 lands, cast any cantrip, dredge loam again, and then have loam still running after the graveyards get smooshed. No attacks still. Zoom's gonna hit the loam. You know his hand is 2 lands and then some mystery cards. Force of Negation is a card that could be over there for Narset. I might try to ambush with the Hull Breacher. Force of Negation doesn't hit it. If you have the fun of one of, then good job. All right, I'm going in with Hull Breacher right now. In the end step, this is my Endurance, like my thing to challenge in the end step, and then see what happens. All right, had the 3rd Swords to Plowshares. Okay. So Hidetsugu flips, and then Baleful Strix can come in playing around Mystical Dispute. If he forces this, then I can jam Narset. Okay, went for the 5th mana. I think we're seeing a force here. There's force. No Wastelands in his hand right now. Narset, get in. Pyroblast, Ponder. Yeah, it's definitely Ponder. And shields up. Come on, you don't have the 4th plow right now. You have the 4th plow right now. Okay, cool. I can let Narset die, or let Narset go to 2. If I connect once with Vessel, then it's bigger than Endurance. That's actually worth a lot. Okay. Fine, Narset's dead. You have your other Strix. 2 cards left in hand. Any chance that they're not just really great? Uro. Good one. Uro does not currently have enough food to escape next turn. I mean, he could waste his own land and escape Uro in like a big emergency situation. Okay, Force of Will, I have interest in. I'm gonna attack, see if he's got the other Endurance, or if I get to grow. Right, I get to grow, and I'm gonna play the other Consume and just leave back Force Blue card for Uro. Like, needs to put a card in the graveyard to get Uro into escape mode, and is incentivized to do that now. Wasteland can target itself also. That's a play you can make if you just need to put a card in your graveyard. Automatic ending on 4/4. Okay. Alright, that's gone. The land to cast Uro. I'm gonna Force of Will Uro. But then I'm still, like, behind to the Endurance and Strix. This has to be done. Gonna have to trust the top of my deck to kill a creature. Or draw me some cards that will. Love to find a Baleful Strix here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Maybe it's my time. Do I? Alright, there's a Wasteland face up, so I don't get to play around Raven's Crime by playing my land when there's literally a Wasteland right where I can see it. 1 card left in hand over there. What are we doing with it? This is my pain. My life is pain. My life is shit. Just a clean little 2-for-1. Alright. Need another spell. We keep them coming. How about Expressive Iteration? Thoughtseize. I know my opponent's hand is just a land, so Thoughtseize isn't good. Endurance bigger than Vessel. Attack me to 6 here. Remember when I thought it was my turn to draw the perfect cards and just break open a stalled game state? Nope. Nope. No chance. Fetchland gives the 5th card. Uro gets to escape here. Just get out. You thought you were in this game? No, you're not. Yeah, there's Uro. Remember when I exiled this opponent's graveyard multiple times this game, and Uro is still just in play every time it is drawn. Deck's really good. And we're dead. Yeah, the Vessel of the All-Consuming versus Endurance is pretty embarrassing. That is not a matchup you want to find yourself in. Have I been too heavy on Red Blast? Is it possible to be too heavy on Red Blast against the deck full of blue Planeswalkers? Am I too generous on Force of Negation and I should have Force of Wills in instead? Like, the hard cast of Force of Negation matters, but, like, countering on my own turn has come up more than once. Is Fatal Push better than Sudden Edict? I mean, uncounterability matters a lot, but Tamiyo turns off Fatal Push. Does not turn off... Or Tamiyo turns off Sudden Edict. It doesn't turn off Fatal Push. Edict out. In. Hidetsugu out. Okay, I've switched which forces are in the deck. Should I switch the number of forces that are in the deck? Is Days on... Like, having 5 Narset effects in the deck, and my opponent's only answers to those being counterspells and prismatic endings, I have never once, like, really been close to doing that thing. I could cut Days Undoing, bring a Force of Negation back in, and just commit to playing fair. I think that's probably better. I wish I thought of that sooner. Like, Ruination is my Days Undoing now. I don't need 2 of that. Okay, I'm going to try it like this. Okay, there's Ruination. There's Surgical Extraction. I'm going to keep. This hand does require me to fetch Basic Swamp to get off the ground. And it can get wasted off blue mana. Really like to draw a land here. Going to cast Strix. Need to see a land here. In a lot of trouble to Wasteland. Didn't have it. Alright, deck. Land. I'll take a Strix, though. Land. Oh, God. That was stressful. And I still need more lands. Still hoping against hope that Wasteland doesn't arrive. Endurance doesn't scare me here. Ponder was a good find as far as non-land cards go. Okay. Put the Strix on top of the land. Don't shuffle the library. Back with my Strixes. Another Strix. Oh no, suddenly decided it's time to counter one of them. Alright. I tried to get greedy with the land on top of my deck, but that's still fine. Flushing out a Mystical Dispute, I'm not upset about. I'm working towards this Ruination. Ruinously working towards Ruination. I could Force of Negation this, or I could save Surgical. Oh, that's fine. Played basic land from hand. Misty Rainforest in hand. Can't just jam Ruination here. If this was Force of Will, I probably would. Okay, I can Surgical Extract Force of Will. Alright, let's see if he goes for Mystic Sanctuary here. Nope. Okay. Is it Nissa time? It's Loam time. Alright. How aggressive I'm supposed to be here is kind of tricky. Another Red Blast. Not a land. Gonna Endurance me. I have the Edict for Endurance. I can Surgical Wasteland if it ends up in the graveyard, which is a pretty big setback, but not the worst I've ever seen. Still not going after Sanctuary. Rebuying that one land over and over again. Magnetic Ending. That's okay. Okay. I can Surgical Extraction Force of Will, but I can do that on my turn too. Let's see where this goes. I can extract Force, and yeah, I'm gonna Surgical Extraction Force of Will. See what's in the hand over there. Flusterstorm is in the hand over there. Okay. Force. Plague Engineer's in. Force of Vigor's not. Okay, Flusterstorm, Veil of Summer, Prismatic Ending Nissa, and Misty Rainforest. Can't fluster Jace. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna put Jace into play right now. You can fluster Ruination. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Jace is gonna get to resolve here. I'm gonna Brainstorm. These lands are good. Awkward. Oh, I've already played my land for the turn. Whoops. Okay, so gonna get to resolve Nissa this turn. Nissa and Prismatic Ending. If he's willing to tap out completely. And then it's, I mean, Nissa versus Ruination is pretty ugly for the Ruination player. for the Nissa player. I wish I had a blue card. That would at least turn off the ending part of this play. This is brutal. Okay, there's Nissa. She regrettably resolves. But next turn, I can Ruination and then Sudden Edict. Like, if he animates the basic land, I can Sudden Edict it. If I kill every land except the basic. He's got a Prismatic Ending my Strix and then attack Jace this turn. Maybe Jace was supposed to plus just to still be in play after all this. But if I found a blue card, it would have been okay. Animated Tropical Island. Gonna fetch a white source here. Oh no, we're still good either way, because I get to... Right, alright. Prismatic Ending, unfortunately. No blue card to pitch. Dies. I think I put the wrong land on top too, thinking I had a land drop. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, we're good. Fetch for basic mountain. 1, 3, 4. Can pay for Flusterstorm. Oh shit. You can Veil of Summer to build Storm, then fuck. Okay. I needed to Sudden Edict first. Oh god, I'm such an asshole. God damn it. Did all that work. Nissa, when you tap a forest, you get an extra green mana. So this thing taps for 2, not 1. And you can tap it for green, or tap it for blue, get a green floating, build your Storm. If I just Sudden Edict free combat, go to second main, cast this thing. He has no lands. Fuck. Yep. Threw this one right in the trash. Okay, that's it. I'm 0-5. I threw that one away at the very end. Just forgot about the implications of building Storm with Veil of Summer into Flusterstorm, and 0-5. Rich Callie, when we did our Delver versus Yori on Bant playoff, slapped me around pretty hard, but nobody came in my house and took all the money before, and Pokemoki did exactly that. In this final breakdown, I gotta say, this still feels almost as bad as it ever did. Uro is just a complete animal. Hidetsugu consumes all, does not control it well enough. And I imagine you could rebuild this deck if like your removal spells lined up with Uro. There might be like some world where you can dance around it. I'm willing to believe I didn't come up with the sideboard plan I was supposed to. Like, I was still figuring it out to the very end, but like, wow. None of those felt particularly competitive. Like, the games I won felt like they were close. The games I lost felt like they weren't. I think there were a couple spots where it was like, okay, don't draw exactly this 2-outer, and he did, but like, that doesn't account for a best out, not even a best out of 5, just 5 full matches played. It's pretty low variance if you put it down the cannon that many times, and came up with nothing. This was a good learning experience for me in that I am not going to pursue this Grixis deck any further. In my head, on paper, I was like, oh yeah, Hidetsugu consumes all. That'll cover the Uro matchups, and then I can just be a Grixis control deck everywhere else. But like, holy shit. Not even close to competitive. Folks who watched this to the very end, if you're a Grixis expert or if you're a Bant expert, please let me know if what you would do in this matchup, like what cards you would play, if you would sideboard differently, if your plan would be different. I think at the very end, when I brought in the Force of Wills over the Force of Negations, valuing countering on my turn over countering on hardcast, and cutting the Days Undoing, I think was the right call ultimately. But might have came to it a little too late and didn't matter in the one game we tried it. Yeah, this was an absolute obliteration. Pokemoki, GG's, congrats on your $500. Have a nice dinner on Spunky. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Make sure you go watch Pokemoki's side of the matchups. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be studying and learning. He is a wonderful person to learn from. I've learned a lot, and I will continue to when I go watch the other side. Thanks for watching. This has been a rough ride. You toughed it out with me. I appreciate it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon. I need the support now. I just lost $500. Help me recoup that. Thanks for all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Surprise, everyone. The video's not over. I am returning about 18 hours after recording this video and doing my sign off and everything. I've actually already uploaded the video. I'm going to pull it off YouTube and re-edit this to the back because I think it's important. I figured out something that went just fundamentally wrong in this entire set now that I've had some distance from it to think about it. And I'm going to start by explaining how I think about control matchups. There's like two roles you can take in a control matchup. One of them is have all of your interaction in, or at least all of your reasonable interaction in, and fewer threats, and just make sure you win the fight over your threats. And the other is cut any inefficient interaction and overload the opponent's answers by jamming threats constantly. I took the second posture in the matchup throughout this entire league. Just brought in everything that I consider a threat. So Sorin, Turok, even Kolagon's command, Ruination. I consider these kind of threats as far as can advance the game or help me win it. And what I did to make room for those was I cut my interaction. Like I was down on forces. I was down to 2 forces, whether they be of negation or will. I was leaving 2 in a lot of the time. I even cut a Days Undoing because I was thinking like that doesn't combo with my now diverse threat base. And I even wasn't bringing in Thoughtseize, which is efficient interaction. I left the 2 in the main at all times, but I didn't always have 3 in afterboard. And where this went wrong is that Hidetsugu Consumes All is not a threat. In my mind, I was thinking of Consume on kind of the same level as Narset or Hull Breacher, where it's just like, if this thing sticks, we're going places. And that is simply not the case. The Chapter 1 barely does anything. I think I destroyed a Carpet of Flowers once, and that's really the only thing it even can hit, and that's not a super important thing to hit. This is basically Suspend 1, and then Morning Tide. I think Morning Tide is the card that exiles all graveyards. Look it up. It's a weird rare from like Odyssey or some shit. But this is like Suspend 1 Morning Tide, and then flips into a 3/3. And a 3/3 gets bricked by Endurance. It gets picked off by Prismatic Ending if the opponent even cares about it, bounced by Teferi. We even saw it come up where Consume resolved, destroyed nothing, and then got bounced before it exiled graveyards. Then I had to spend 3 mana to start the clock over again on the graveyard thing. We saw Consume resolve, and the opponent cast an Escape Ura right away and didn't even have a graveyard to get rid of because he already ate it himself. It was like, this just is ignorable in a lot of situations and not that devastating even when it does happen. I know I spent a lot of time in the beginning of the deck tech talking about how great this card is, and I still believe that's true. Like, as far as against the field at large, Hidetsugu Consumes All, the first chapter, murdering the Delvers, the Mana Bonds, the Explorations, the Saga tokens, all of that is huge. It's just not good in this matchup, which is something I didn't think about until it was too late. Controlling Uro is really essential, but I have the 2 surgical extractions that can help do that. And I think if I went to just focused on cantripping my way into a surgical to answer the Uro, that would have gone a lot farther. I was trimming Consumes. I cut 1 in every round. I think I went down to 2 at one point, but I think I should have been at 0 or 1 in post-board games, not 2 or 3. And if I cut these, so I was playing it like it was on the par of Narset. Like if this was just 3 more Hull Breachers, then I think my game plan would have worked. If this was like another Sorin, a Back to Basics, and an Ashiok, like I think my plan would have worked. Those are all things that need to be answered. Consume simply does not need to be answered. And the plan of overloading your opponent's removal, if your plan to overload it involves things that they don't need to remove, then the plan is just broken from the start. I think what I should have done is board out at least 3 consumes, the lightning bolts, the sudden edicts. I also spent some time waffling about sudden edict versus fatal push. I think fatal push is actually better for the times that they can insulate their endurance or Uro with a baleful strix. I think fatal push is pretty important there. That's 7 slots so far. So the Red Blast and Ruination come in. Turok, Sorin, Thoughtseize, and Kolaghan's Command can replace one of the Force of Negations. Oh, I need the Surgicals in here too. So Surgicals come in, and then Force of Negation. All right, we're on 0 consume. Let's work through this one together. Strix was a pretty big deal. Jace matters. I gotta cut one more card. It could be another Force of Will. Like, now I have 7 pieces of 1 mana hyper efficient interaction, and then Surgical Extraction to control Uro. The consumes, like, I'm never gonna spend 3 mana on something that doesn't dramatically affect the board at this point. I have Narset, Hull Breacher. K Command is a 2-for-1 no matter how you slice it. Veil of Summer can break it up, but this card will generate value. The Strix will generate value. Jace, Sorin, and all of this is just working towards Ruination, which is actually my banger. And having 3 Force of Wills in the deck give me a lot of comfort to sort of slam Narset. Like, I played this whole match scared of slamming because he has so much 1 mana interaction. I mean, the Flusterstorm, the Veil, the Hydroblast, the Mystical Disputes. And my plan of boarding out Force of Will means that I always have to play off curve to hold up Pyroblast, or way off curve to have 3 extra mana for Dispute, when just jamming things in with Force backup is probably where you want to be. So my point here is I approached this matchup with the threat dense, run them out of answers approach. And I think the actual approach to this matchup is use your efficient interaction to make sure something like Narset or Hull Breacher sticks for multiple turns. And because my interaction got so skinny after board, because I was going so low on forces, I just was not able to protect my Narsets from Prismatic Ending or whatever came its way. Like, I don't think there was a single game of this set where I just had Narset in play for 3 turns. It just didn't happen. Hull Breacher, I think, made a treasure once when I was dead on board. Like, Uro was attacking, and Pokemoki gave me a treasure on the way through because he knew I had to chump block anyway. Like, these cards never controlled the game on my side, and they frequently controlled the game on his side. And then playing towards Days Undoing as a similar Ruination. Like, I was cutting Days Undoing because I identified my Narsets and Hull Breachers weren't sticking, and that's because my plan wasn't set up to help them stick. And now if Consumes are out and I have all this interaction in, these are more likely to stick, and then I can treat Days Undoing like a Ruination, like a sorcery that just ends the game on the spot. That's me circling back with almost a day to think about it. Just really haunted me all night. And I was starting to get there. Like, when I cut Days Undoing for more interaction, that was starting down that path of something isn't working. How do I change it? I just misidentified Days Undoing as the brick card when it was actually Consume the whole time. I like that Consume gives you a main deck playability thing against Uro, but you really should be using Narset, Hull Breacher, and Surgical Extraction to control Uro in the sideboard games. Now, for real, I'm going to sign off, though I couldn't leave this video unresolved that significantly. I still think Bant is a bad matchup for Grixis. Uro is still a huge problem for Grixis. You do need to answer Uro, and it is going to take something like Surgical and Narset together. You might have to let them Uro once, Pyroblast it, then Surgical it. It's going to get ugly. That card's going to be hard to work through, but Consume is not the answer post-board to do that. Thank you all for sticking through this. It's not often I circle back and add to a video when I've already have it in the can, but this was really important. Thank you all for watching and sticking with me all the way to the end here. Check out the Patreon, like, comment, subscribe, all the things, and I'll see you for the next one.